show that makes all the noise. Holy cow, are you guys? I got to tell you, man, behind the scenes, what you guys are doing for the program is utterly amazing. Oh, and by the way, that ESP guy is getting annihilated because of what? Your show. Your show. You are absolutely annihilating Philadelphia sports right now. Congratulations to you guys. Way to keep killing it, man. By the way, we want to get to 265 today. A minimum of 250. You guys have now pushed it to, I believe, it is now going on day 9 that we end up going over 250. You guys were awesome yesterday. By the way, today, we will have at 4:30, Randy Cross from CBS Sports. 5:30, Brian Baldinger will join us, and we will talk Eagles in NFL with the NFL Network's Brian Baldinger. That will be at 5:30 Eastern Time. As we always do, we welcome you aboard. Please hit the like button. 76 days to the start of training camp. And by the way, tomorrow the schedule will fall for the NFL. Eagles will know. You know, I want to start something out because of yesterday's big contract news with Jared Goff. You know, Jared Goff makes me realize, especially along with Jalen Hurts here, here's a prime example of this. Are you really going to pay $53 million to a good quarterback? Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. Why not just draft somebody new? This money on paying good quarterbacks, gigantic money, is that worth it? Let me get that list out. Now it's updated with Goff. Joe Burrow, $55 million. Goff, $53. Herbert, $52.5. Lamar, $52. Hurts, $51. Murray, $46.1. Watson, $46. Cousins, $45. You think any of those 8 guys are going to win a Super Bowl? What's the point? What's the point? How many people think one of these 8 guys are going to win a Super Bowl? How many have been? Burrow, Goff, and Hurts. What's the point? Jared Goff gets a 53. Would you look at Jared Goff and go, that guy is an elite guy? These top 8 guys. The 9th guy is Mahomes at 45. I think it's a reach that any one of these guys win a Super Bowl. I think it's a complete reach. Why would you pay this money, $50 million plus? Are you going to pay Dak 60? Why don't you just go into the draft and draft a guy? I'd rather draft a guy than pay a guy, a good quarterback, $60 million and overpay him. It doesn't make sense. You destroy your football team in the process. So you're going to pay Jared Goff $53 million, or you're going to pay some of these other guys like Kyler Murray, $46.1, or even one-year wonder Hurts, $45 million or $50 million. And you're going to pay that money, and you're not going to get the end result you're looking for. What's the point? It just doesn't make sense. I don't see that paying my quarterback, it doesn't make sense. Now, one of these guys are going to win a Super Bowl. Maybe Burrow. Maybe Burrow wins a Super Bowl. The rest of these guys are not. Cousins is surely not. Goff is not. Herbert? No way. I don't see it. Joseph goes, it's the quarterback market. Well, the quarterback market is overrated. These quarterbacks are overrated. You're paying for overrated players. Jalen Hurts is overrated. At $30 million, okay, because I could take the other 20 and build my defense with it. Okay. Now, again, the cap stuff, I get all that. I'm talking about paying a guy straight up. Here's your money. I don't want to do that. I just don't. And the one thing with Burrow's never healthy. He's never healthy. Hey, it's good to see that C24's back. He's giving Jalen Hurts the GOAT tag off of 1 year. That's 21 games ago, guy. 21 games ago where he played as well as he did. 21 games ago. 21, long time ago. In NFL years, that's ages ago. This guy hasn't been good in 21 games. He has not played anything like he did since the Super Bowl. That's 21 games ago. You know, people on my X account keep saying 22. Stop. It's old news, man. You don't bring the only year up in a guy's career and go, well, hey, he did it then. Dude, we've seen so many guys in this league go through 1 year wonders and stop. He's never going to duplicate what he did in 22 ever again in his career. It's over. He is who he is now. He's not going to get any better. I know it's the coaching. I know. It's the coaching. So he got a coach fired. But the coach didn't get himself fired. That's the dumbest argument on the planet. Hurts got a coordinator fired because of his Iraq play, his incompetent play. Let's be real here on that. He cost Brian Johnson his job because everyone else played well last year. He did. Just because every team that made it to the second round of the playoffs either has a quarterback, will be paid that much shortly, already are. I'm just telling the two quarterbacks that made it to the Super Bowl, one was the ninth highest paid quarterback, and the other one made $800,000. And yet you're going to pay Jared Goff. Get this. How many more millions? You're paying Jared Goff $8 million more than Patrick Mahomes because he's the next guy up. No, thank you. No, thank you. He's really good. He's really good. Look at C24. You must try watching a ball game. Hurts doesn't have a screen game. It would have been nice if he did. You might want to watch some football, kid. Mahomes is the only quarterback that can't be put on a shit list. The quarterback market is very inflated. Mike, right to the point. Absolutely. Jalen Hurts. Steve goes, Josh Allen's Vinny Testaverde. Jalen Hurts is Tyrod Taylor. You want to go there? I'll go there. Tyrod Taylor actually beat him last year, too. So we'll go there. Goff is good, but can't beat Mahomes. He beat him last year. Same way Jalen did. Well, they didn't have Kelsey and Jones. That's not the Lions' fault. Just because Rafi Nadal doesn't show up and he's injured in a French Open and Roger Federer wins it, that's not Roger Federer's fault that you couldn't stay healthy. That's a you thing. I show up, and if you're not there, that's a you thing. He wanted more money. Okay, Chris Jones. Kelsey wasn't ready to go. That's not on the Lions. They were ready to go, and they beat him in the opener. Well, they didn't have their two-star players. What's that got to do with Detroit? What does that have to do with Detroit? Nothing. That's a Kansas City issue. I hate when fans do that. Well, this guy wasn't playing. That's got nothing to do with the opponent. They showed up full tack or not. Just because you don't show up and you don't have your star players, hey, welcome to the NFL. Hurts has a make or break it season. That's why Howie is building up next year's draft. Ken, I happen to think he's building the team up, and it's going to be a turnkey situation if Hurts shits the bed. Today is Jalen Hurts' day. Dude, make up your mind. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never wavered on anything. I'm making a point to you that paying these quarterbacks $50 million is not worth it. You don't get the result. You don't get the result. Well, Kansas City beat the Niners, so first game doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. Someone said that Goff can't beat Mahomes. Well, that's not true. I answered the question. Jalen Hurts can lead us to the Super Bowl this year, Sills. No, he's not. Because your defense won't allow it. Kelsey's coming back by August. Book it, says Nick. Maybe. Hurts is way overpaid. I agree. These quarterbacks are like buying stock too high and hoping it outperforms. You're right, Mark. Very, very well done. You're buying the long here. You're totally buying the long. You're buying the long, hoping that, like you say, that it lives up to the price that you paid for. Every single one of these guys, you're buying the long. You're hoping they live up to it, knowing full well 95% of them will not. Shit, that number could even be higher. It's the riskiest position in salary in the league. And again, Jalen Hurts Day? No, this is quarterback day. This is not just about Hurts. He's in the group. This is about paying for quarterbacks that are good. Massive amounts of money. And not getting your return on investment. That's what this is. You haven't got your return on investment. When Hurts went to the Super Bowl, he was on a rookie deal. When Hurts had that deal kick in, here we are. Now you got to start to get some money return here. It's getting way out of control with sports salaries. I don't think it's getting way out of control with sports salaries. I don't mind paying money to... Isn't it funny? Think about it, Mike. When you pay a position player, the two positions that are getting out of hand are wide receiver and quarterback. Are you really going to pay a guy $30 million who touches the ball 4 times a game? I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of fool's gold. So I thought Goff was undefeated against Mahomes in his career. I could be mistaken, but I thought he was. He may be. He may have an undefeated. Hey, Q, didn't he win that game when he was with the Rams and they had that game on Monday Night Football in LA? The game that was supposed to be played in Mexico City? Didn't they beat him like 55-something? It was something like 55-something. Didn't he outplay Mahomes in that game? Like, right, Q, was something like 100 points was put on the board? Goff has performed well against Mahomes. I mean, he has absolutely played well against him. Mahomes lost to Brady and beat Purdy. Hurts and Garoppolo. She's blessed with 3 subpar quarterbacks. Not sure what that is. That's a crazy number, Goff's record. Sales, can you flip quarterbacks every 4 or 5 years before max contracts and sustain success? The Niners do. Because they have a great play calling. And quite frankly, so do the Rams. Before Goff's deal came up, they moved him. Stafford makes 40. I don't think that's horrible for a guy like that. I don't think that's horrible. It's way under market. Think of what the Rams are getting. The Rams are paying $40 million or $38 million for Matthew Stafford, who's won a Super Bowl, and not paying one of these $50 million deals. Not one of those quarterbacks are going to win. Not one of those quarterbacks has the arm, except maybe Burrow and Herbert, that Matthew Stafford has. Look at what the Rams did. They moved off of Goff before they had to give him his extension, and they signed a veteran guy and gave him a deal that was helpful to the Rams and also that paid him kind of in the top 15. Stafford's a top 15 paid guy. He's not a top 10 guy. I mean, the Niners have had Garoppolo. Who else? Trey Lance. And they've had Brock Purdy. And two of those quarterbacks have gone to the Super Bowl. So can it work? The Niners have done it. Why would the Eagles pay $50 million to a quarterback? The Niners haven't done it, and they've been to more Super Bowls in the last 5 years. They've been to 2. They've won 2 NFC championships. I mean, am I wrong? They moved off of quarterbacks. And I can't think the last time they paid a guy. What was it, Garoppolo? Not high money. Nick Foles should have been at Tom Brady's roast. That would have been nice to see. Big Sills, you should have Josh Innes on your show. Like Josh Innes. Yes, you are wrong. How am I wrong? How am I wrong when the Niners have been to 2 Super Bowls in 5 years where quarterbacks are not paying? And only 3 of these guys, 2 of these guys have been to Super Bowls, the $50 million club. Of the $50 million club, 2 guys have been. Jared Goff's not getting to a Super Bowl. Again, at 53. I mean, you said the Niners have a longer Super Bowl winning drought than the Cowboys. It's sad the Niners have had a longer Super Bowl winning drought than the Cowboys. At least there's a drought. You're talking, what, 5? Okay. So the 49ers have won 5 Super Bowls and been to 7. How many have you been to? Sills, why don't OC coaches see what Riley did with Jalen Hurts and use him the way he was being used in Oklahoma? He threw for 4,000 yards there. It's a risky proposition. It's like the 22. Hey, Martin, I want you to understand something here, and I'll say it one more time to everyone. There'd be no roasting of the Eagles if they weren't so damn stubborn. If they just coached the kid and let the kid be who they paid for. It is really like my business, honest to God. Every single time, you want to hear something crazy? Every single time I got a big paying job in broadcasting, Sandra, you'll like this. Every big paying job I ever got, first thing, management and the program director wanted to try to add something to the show, or they wanted to change me. Instead of just letting me cook and do my show, they wanted to put their imprint on what they bought. And that's what the Eagles are doing with Hurts. They're coaching him wrong, just like the way they coach Wentz. They coached Wentz wrong. Doug tried to stop it. Doug got in the way. That's why Nick's there. I mean, if you let Hurts, I'm going to continue to hammer this point. If you allowed Jalen Hurts to be Jalen Hurts, and Hurts 22, I'm on board. Until that day, I'm not on board. Hey, Sills, a panel of people that chooses the schedule. That's a great question. Schedule comes out tomorrow night. Marshall, you know what they say? They say it's some computer issue that spits out the schedule. There's not a chance in hell that hey, Marshall, do you really believe the NFL does anything by chance? Hey, let's just put it in the computer and it comes out. Here's the schedule for the Eagles. Do you actually believe that? That the NFL would do anything by chance? I don't. Sills, they paid Jimmy G. They messed up with Trey Lance. If he was good, paid him. Stop acting like the Niners had his planned. I'd never said it was planned. It was just by chance that Purdy panned out. But you have also a coach that has been to 3 Super Bowls, that knows how to play call. You're not putting it into any kind of category here that you think that Nick Sirianni is in the same category as Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has at least done one thing. He's proving he can go to multiple Super Bowls with multiple jobs. Play caller, head coach. Your guy is a fool. He's the court gesture. You have a fool for a coach. Okay, so let's I don't even want to call Nick a coach. He's a gatekeeper. Okay, he's a gatekeeper. That guy's not a coach. Okay, he's not. The Eagles are good. Yes. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. NFL analytics team just puts it in a computer. Yeah, I'm sure of that. Kind of like your guys put in names for a draft. New Jersey Fishing Maniac. Thank you very much. As you see, all of our great folks who put super chats in there all go to the top of the line. We're going to get to our topics here in a second. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Prince, you were awesome yesterday. Thank you so much for what you did for the program. We really appreciate it. You were absolutely insane great. Thank you so much. Sirianni is the man in the way of Kellen Moore head coaching position. Probably so. Dan, why do you hate Hurts? I don't give a shit about Jalen Hurts. Either way, as a man, I don't hate him. He's not the style I want. I don't think he's as good as you think he is. Just like I didn't think you were as good as you thought you were last year. I don't think he's that good. I think he's a good player. He's not an exceptional player. Now, 22, you're coaching him that way. Like I said, we got a different conversation. But you want him to be 23 moving forward. He's not that good. 22, if you're coaching him, how about this? If they had coached him the same way in 22, where do you think the Eagles would have been in 23? Ask yourself this. If they would have expanded off of 22 and kept that offense the same way that Shane Steichen, do you think the Eagles would have been in the NFC Championship game again? Prince, do you think they would have been in the NFC Championship game again if they had coached him like 22? I do. I do. I completely believe that, and I mean that. Zader said something that we posted on JAKIB's X account. He's right. Hurts is in the top 5. Eagles are going to Super Bowl. I don't believe he will be. Because I don't think he has any chance of being in the top 5 trying to coach him like he did in 23. He had the same talent. Coordinator won't matter. It's the quarterback. This is all going to come down to him. It's not going to come down to who's in his ear. This is going to come down to him making decisions again. What was the one thing? Jalen Hurts was the offensive coordinator in 22, not Shane Steichen. The RPO is a quarterback decision. Shane puts the play in, run an RPO. Go ahead, Jalen. You make the call. Keep it, throw it. What do you want to do, Jalen? He put the decision-making in Jalen Hurts' hands. In 23, the Philadelphia Eagles took the decision-making out of his hands and told him where to throw the ball. There lies my problem. This has got nothing to do with hating on Hurts. My attitude is about hating how you're coaching him. Let him make the decisions. That's why Kellen was saying, hey, I want the quarterback to have complete autonomy on what he wants to do out there. Well, Jalen Hurts passing the ball, having autonomy, he's not good enough. He can't pick blitzes up and he can't read defenses. But in that RPO, he's a weapon and a lightning rod. He is the best decision maker I've ever seen on the move. But that's all gone by the wayside. Do you I don't, I think you think I hate Jalen. I hate the way the Eagles are coaching him. Maybe, you know what, Xander, everyone, I haven't made that clear enough. I don't hate the player. I hate the way you're coaching him. When you buy something, I'm not looking to change it. I bought it for a reason. I liked what it was, not what I think it's going to be. Why does everything have to be forecasted? Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean. Why does there have to be a projection? Dude, winning in the NFL is about today, not 8 years from now. Nobody cares 8 minutes from now. That is an analytic CPA general manager's thinking. Well, let me worry about it in 5 years. Dude, a coach doesn't worry about anything in 5 years. He worries about today, doesn't give a shit about yesterday, and doesn't care about tomorrow. That's not how coaches coach. They don't care. You know why? Because things change every single day when you coach. Guy gets hurt. Player outperforms another player. You elevate a guy. A head coach flip-flops more on his roster than anybody talking about any given NFL team. How many people think coaches flip-flop on players? You flip-flop on them every week. The Eagles are a great example of that. GMs coach for the future. True coaches coach for the day. And the win. Howie thinks that stuff can all be done together. It can't be. You can't win Super Bowls from the general manager's box. You win them with guys on the fucking sidelines. That's how you win. Our offense was so bland last year, no creativity. No creativity because the kid struggled reading defenses and picking blitzes up. That's why the time in the pocket, he struggled with pocket presence. You know what else, too? You're not giving the kid a chance. I'll tell you one thing that Lincoln Riley did 10 times better than the Eagles have done, especially if you want to have him be. Somebody asked the question earlier. They asked the question earlier, how come Jalen is not being coached the way Lincoln Riley coached him when he was in Norman? It's a great question. You know why? Because he knew exactly what he had in Hurts. He knew exactly what he had in him. He developed him. Shorter passes, timely passes, told him where to go. Lincoln Riley was more creative. Now, Lincoln Riley can't sign a defensive player to save his life. He'll never win a national title. USC made the biggest mistake in the history of that program hiring him. He's terrible. He might actually be a better head coach in the NFL because he can't recruit defensive players. I've never seen Southern Cal so awful. Shit, Oklahoma Sooners were awful when he came to defense under his reign. He's not a good recruiter. Just not a good recruiter. I feel like Sirianni really doesn't have a legit clue about his dude. Stop with Sirianni, Mike. He's irrelevant. Mike, you're talking about a lame duck coach who has no say in shit. And I'm going to ask a question here in a minute. Okay? I'll ask you a question here about him. And then we're going to go on here and we're going to talk a little bit about two teams in the NFC East. Super Bowls are the only thing that matters. Angelo, absolutely. Even I can't defend Sirianni. Well, here, let's do this. And Eagle fan 220, you and I, we go back and forth and disagree a lot, right? Can the Eagles work around Nick Sirianni's incompetence? Do you think they can work around his incompetence? Prince, New Jersey fishing maniac, one of my boys. Let's hit that like button. Thank you, brother. Means a lot. Can they work around Sirianni's incompetence? That's a great. I don't honestly know. Fly Eagle fanatic. Only temporary. By the way, don't forget. Randy Cross at 4:30 from CBS Sports. Brian Baldinger from NFL Network at 5:30. Temporary. Fly Eagle fanatic. Huh. Let's get it to 100 likes for now. Thank you, Mark. Sills needs to work that poll for likes. They did in 22. Nick, stop with 22. It's old news. Don't you want to create some new news? Don't you want to create some new news? Dan presents fantasy as fact. What's that? That Nick Sirianni. What's the fantasy, Steve? What's the fantasy we're talking about here? What have I said that's fantasy? What have I said that's fantasy? I'd like to know. That Hurts has had 1 year? It's true. Nick goes, it just proves it's possible, Sills. I don't think he can. Because the guy's going to want to save his job, especially if he's 2-2 after the first 4 games. Because if Nick Sirianni's 2-2 after the first 4 games, I wonder if the Eagles fire him. Without Sirianni, JM. Interesting. JM. Huh. Without Sirianni, Howie loses his power. By bringing Sirianni back, Howie got more control of the offense and the defense and the roster. You're right. JM, nice. I hadn't thought of that. When you bring a coach like that back who's been clipped, you gain more power in the building. And you gain more power in the locker room. But there is more pressure because that owner's not going to tolerate all the money he's spending. And he's not going to tolerate that. And he has shown in the past that he will send you through the trap door. He's done that. And he's put Howie in the closet. He's got a track record of making decisions that's in his best interest for his team, not in Howie's best interest. He's done that. I hadn't thought of that. You're right. Sirianni being back in the building, this is it for Howie here. This has got to work. And you know why I think it's got a chance of working? Because you play one of the worst schedules in the league. Yeah, I mean, you're going to play one of the worst schedules in pro football. Now, again, a lot of that shit's based off of the 23 one-loss record. Teams get better too, so it's a projection. Do I think yes, Chicago's going to get better. They are. Okay? Jeff said his worst mistake was putting Howie in the closet. It'll never happen again. Moore will be the head coach if he is successful. Could be. We broke that down yesterday a little bit. And I happen to agree with you. I would never want, without a doubt here, I would never want an incompetent coach like Sirianni as my head coach. And that's why I asked the question, do you think you can work around his incompetence? In his cheerleading, in his screaming, in his poor behavior and unprofessionalism on the sideline. Can you work around that? He's an unprofessional head coach. He's not qualified to be the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's just not qualified. And that one-loss record is indicative of the hard work that the organization has put in with the good players. And I'll tell you what, like I said, with what management has done, it really doesn't matter who the coach is because they don't give a shit. They don't care. If offense takes a dump this year, then they'll bring in Belichick. I'm not so sure of that. Do you really want a head coach with a 7 at the beginning of his age? Eagles had the toughest schedule in history of the NFL last year, and the Cows had the easiest. That's not true. He is qualified to be a CEO coach. No, he's not. So it doesn't really matter. Then he's not qualified. He is absolutely not qualified. He's a professional liar. He's a professional liar. Do you think Dakota is better than Hurts? I love where we're going next. I don't see Bill coming to Philly. No, it'll be a young guy who you don't even know his name right now. You have no idea who this guy's going to be. Okay? None. You have no idea what this guy looks like. It'll be another one of these young analytical guys that knows how to work with the analytics department. Exactly, a professional liar. Thanks for making my point, Sills. Yeah, he is. He's a professional liar. Laurie is a Boston guy. He loves Bill. Actually, Howie likes him too. They're big friends. I don't know how you move on from the guy when he took you to the Super Bowl a few years ago. Lennox. The Eagles were almost ready to move on from him. They were even asked the question, why'd you keep him? Kellen Moore either succeeds and gets hired as head coach or fails and gets fired. And then Jalen's on another one. So the incompetence, I don't think they can get around it. I think to me, I put him on a short leash. I think the first month of the season, if this guy doesn't have this thing aimed in the right direction with one of the easiest schedules in pro football, you're not winning, and you have one of the easiest schedules with the biggest payroll of players in an offensive huddle of any team in the league, and you're 2-2, you're fired, guy. And let's see what Kellen Moore does as a head coach calling plays for Hurts. And let's see how that works. I'd rather go, hey, I feel more comfortable with Kellen Moore as my head coach than Nick Sirianni. At least we got a head coach that's a play caller. And if Hurts succeeds, you got your head coach and your quarterback all in one stroke. I think personally, like I said, I don't think you can coach around the incompetence. Nick will be let go by December. Dude, I'm not waiting until December. I can't wait that long. Big Seals, we know you got that dog in you. There's a hole at right guard. How do you feel about lining up next to Lane? Dude, I like the guys you have. I do. The Keegan addition. I think that you got Becton in there now, too. I'd like to put Becton and have Keegan, and we'll see what Steen turns into. But I like the talent that you have at that position. Plus, I like the guy coaching the players at that position. I mean, you got Jeff Stoutland there. I think you're going to be okay at right guard. JM's right. Your depth at D tackle is a problem for me. It's your depth at defensive tackle is a problem. He said 2-2. Fire Nick. Go for 1-3. Howie gone. Hey, Howie's not going anywhere. Though there'll be a reassignment of, hopefully, of his job description. So how many weeks you give Sirianni? I give him a month. If that thing's 2-2, he's out. I can't risk paying all that money and another year of Hurts with a guy in the way. I'm not waiting to the end of the year. You know what? Isn't the worst thing in the world, right, Xander? Somebody telling you see a problem. You see a problem, you know the problem, and you just go, well, I'll wait to the end of the season. Dude, that's how you lose ball games. Well, I waited to the end of the game. We'll make adjustments for the next week. No, I want you to make game adjustments now, in game, in season. You see, but that's what the Eagles, and they may be afraid to do this because of what happened last year with Desai. The Eagles thought they were so smart. Instead of allowing a coach to make the decision of an in-game coaching decision, the analytics people in the front office made that decision for him, and it imploded. Do your job, Howie. You're an analytics CPA bookworm. Let the coaches do their job. I guarantee you Nick Sirianni would not have fired Sean Desai. He was 10-2. But the analytics people panicked. That's why he's incompetent, because he didn't have the Doug Peterson ball sack to stand up for his coaches. Do you understand? Those are the two massive dynamics going against you in 24. You were 10-2. Teams lose games. Kansas City was losing games at a big clip. They lost to the Raiders. But they rallied it in. They kept their composure. They kept their poise. Come on, man. Would you like to hire Ben Johnson or Bobby? He's talking Ben Johnson, the guy up in Detroit, and Slowick in Houston. Man, those are two good. Bobby Slowick as the head coach of the Eagles. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is good enough for him. What he did with a passer. He needs a passer. Is he an RPO guy? Jared Goff's not an RPO guy either. I don't know if that looks good. As long as Jalen Hurts is that style of quarterback, you're limited in coordinators. Kellen Moore has never in a million years coached a quarterback that is so reliant on his performance in a game as an RPO quarterback. Dude, you can run RPO plays. Dak's not considered an RPO quarterback, though. He's never had over 30 carries in a year. Jalen's almost carried the ball 200 times. That's a far cry. That's 2 games for Hurts. So you're limited on your – get this. You know why this Kellen Moore hire is – I'm more confident in the Vic Fangio hire. Why? Well, Vic's got a scheme, and he's going to try to plug in the right players that's on the roster to fit that scheme. Jordan Davis may benefit the most from anybody because he's in a nose position now. Okay? Kellen Moore's never coached an RPO quarterback. No matter what people tell you. Well, he ran a lot when he was in. They had Zeke. Dak never ran the ball. And when he did, it was limited. You're talking about two completely different styles of play. Dak plays more like Donovan McNabb. Would you guys agree? Dak plays more like McNabb than what Hurts and him are going to be compared to with Kellen Moore. He played more like McNabb. Jalen Hurts has nothing in common with McNabb and with Dak Prescott. Has nothing in common. Hey, by the way, Dink and Dak, Brady won 7 Super Bowls doing that. What's your problem with that? Dink and Dunk, the 7 Super Bowls? Sign me up. I'm ready to roll. Is the players' accountability, or are we just going to blame coaches instead of the players on the field? Jalen got out of weight room and live in the film room. Troy, in Philadelphia, it's the coach's fault. In Buffalo, okay, it's Josh Allen's fault. Just listen to the people in here. Get this. You want to hear something? Josh Allen had the most interceptions in the NFL and still won his division. 4th time in a row. And has a 700 win percentage. Same as Hurts. It's not like it's costing him. Do you see who the Chiefs are playing in the first 2 weeks? The Chiefs are playing Lamar Jackson and then Joe Burrow. Is that right? Is that what it is? They got Cincinnati week 2. So you got Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Chiefs could easily be 0-2. They're going to make it hard on them on three-peating. League doesn't want to see that three-peat. I'd like to see them get a shot at three-peating. I'd like to see that. Jordan Davis's job just got easier. I think it got easier because I think it's going to fill his skill set. Dak is a Super Bowl away from being Drew Brees. I'd be something else. I mean, 304, if Dak Prescott won a Super Bowl, he'd go to the Hall of Fame because it would validate all the numbers. Plus, he's a Cowboy. He would go to the Hall of Fame. He wins a Super Bowl, he'll go to the Hall of Fame as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback, whether you think he deserves it or not. Shit, they're going to make a run at Tony Romo getting to the Hall of Fame. Do I think he is? Probably not. Probably not. Like, do I look at Dak and go, he's better than Phillip Rivers? He's not. But he's a Cowboy quarterback. Has Prescott ever had a bad OC? Again, nor has Jalen. That's an excuse. You know what a bad OC is? The entire offense sucks. That's not the case last year. Everybody performed well except the quarterback. Everyone but the QB. Tony Romo's not a Hall of Famer. I agree. Danny White's better than Tony Romo, in my opinion. Okay? Danny White was a better quarterback. I think Danny White got to 5 NFC titles. You can make the argument Danny White was more in comparison to Donovan McNabb, but McNabb did get to a Super Bowl. Mahomes is the only quarterback in the league that has proven everyone else is trying to make a name. Okay? Well, that's what happens when you have a head rooster in the hen house. Everyone wants to be the head rooster. So, welcome to the NFL. Dak is Romo, McNabb level. Yes, that's who they are. Kirk Cousins, those kind of guys. But let me tell you this, if Kirk Cousins has a Super Bowl ring, you're talking Matt Stafford stuff then. Okay? Hurts really benefited from all those run calls we made. Well, they're coaching him that way. Nick Sirianni's getting his marching orders from somebody, dude. And you hired a guy who's going to throw the ball more and the quarterback's going to run less. Not that. By the way, did you see what Vegas is saying about Barkley's touchdown numbers? They got him under 7, which means they don't think they're going to run the ball a lot. The guys in the desert don't think you're going to run the ball a lot. Shit, your running backs have had some pretty good touchdown numbers the last 2 years. Guys in Vegas say 6.5. So they don't really believe Barkley's going to run a lot? Wow. You paid $10 million for that? All right. So you're going to throw more? You throw more than you did a year ago, you'll win 7 games. If Lamar throws more than he did a year ago, there'll be a very disappointing season in Baltimore. That's not what those men do. Man, it's nothing to do with the players. It's the organizations getting in the way of the player. This really has nothing to do with Jalen or Lamar Jackson. It's people getting their way. You know who lost that AFC title game last year for the Ravens? John Harbaugh. 47 attempts. Come on, guy. Did he throw that many times in any game and any one time last year at all? And if he did, I bet they lost. Joseph says Barkley 15 touchdowns. He's never done that in his entire career. And now all of a sudden he's going to do that coming off a bad wheel 3 years ago. Sure, okay, yeah, right. Eagles defensive problems, Bradbury getting beat. That's because you got no pressure on the quarterback. You play center field and you play zone. Dude, zone defenses are a direct result of pressure up front. If you're not getting home, I don't care if you have Patrick Surtain back there. He's going to get beat. Here's the human element. Justin Jefferson running forward with a full head of steam. You running backwards versus a world-class sprinter. Who's going to win that? If you don't get any pressure, I don't care who he is. You're getting beat. You got beat last year because you lost pressure on the quarterback. That's what happened to you last year. And then your secondary fell apart. They were not qualified to be man cover corners. And when Patricia got the job, the entire unit fell apart. That's incompetence. Why is Brian Johnson a quarterback coach now? He was trash. Because I'll tell you why, Nick. Because your receivers had career years. Your running back had a career year. Every single guy in that Brian Johnson offense last year ate outside the quarterback. That's why he's a quarterback coach. See, not everybody looks at it that way. That you think it was him. That's not how the league looks at Brian Johnson. Now, if A.J. Brown and Devontae had bad years and the quarterback did, that's one thing. But they didn't. They had career years. Brian Johnson got a job. He's a quarterback coach. It doesn't make sense, Sills. Why? He was hired. Everybody had a career year in the Eagle huddle, except the quarterback. Is that is that not true? Why didn't Brian Johnson get another OC position? Because that's not how it works. No, but what he did was he got a quarterback coaching job. He'll get another OC job again. He'll get another opportunity. And he's working with Kingsbury. I think that's a great hire. Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Johnson, who got career. I guarantee you, Terry McLaurin, would you not agree that if you, hey, Maniac, would you not agree if you're Terry McLaurin in Washington, you're excited that Brian Johnson's a quarterback coach? Look what he did for AJ and Devontae. Zone D means you better put up 50 to win on offense. That's right. If front office stayed out of Peterson's way, this team would be in better shape. Can't do that, though, Sean. Thank you very much, by the way, guys. I appreciate the super chats. Thank you, guys. So is what Barkley's over-under on yards? Dude, I think he's got to be over 1,200 yards because that's what you guys have been averaging the last 2 years with Miles Sanders and with DeAndre Swift. I think you got to be over 1,200. Why isn't he a wide receiver coach then? Brian Johnson sucked, man. Well, you think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith thought he sucked? Do you? Let's ask that question. How many people in here think Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown thought that Brian Johnson sucked? How could you? 2 years in a row, they've gone over 1,000 yards, and they actually upped their game this year. You really think they sucked? That's why A.J. Brown's pissed every week. Why? He went over 1,500 yards. He's got 100 catches. You're not making sense. How can a guy be mad for having a career year? How can a guy be mad and he had a career year? Because they're great players. Oh, okay. Well, then it shouldn't matter. Talent beat bad coaching. Well, then don't make excuses why Jalen sucked. Where's his talent? You can't make excuses for those guys being super talented and Hurts not. AJ was shaking his head during the Cardinals game when they called Gainwell's screen on 3rd and long. Once again, that's not my question. Situational play calling. His inexperience was a factor. But when it came to those two men had career years. They're not pissed at him. And by the way, where was AJ the last 7 weeks? He had 100-yard game. He was nowhere to be seen. That's on him. Jalen Hurts had a bad year. No, not a horrible year. There's something to the play calling. Troy Johnson is probably out to dinner with Hurts every weekend. They're personal friends, remember? Hurts didn't have a good year. He needed to be better. Okay? Needs to be more careful with the ball. Mark, I think it's got to do with situational play calling too. This is where I'll concede on this on the coordinator. I don't think they were very good situationally. 3rd and long, back to the goalpost, shit like that. 3rd and 2, like the Jets calls late in the game. I didn't really think they were really good closing games out, 2-3 minutes left in ball games, and coming out of the timeout or coming out of halftime. I didn't really think they were good coming out of halftime, and also too with 4 or 5 minutes left in a ball game. I thought they kind of shit their pants a bit. You know, I mean, it just didn't look very organized, and it got a little chaotic and off the rails. I mean, I think from 20 to 20, they were good. But then when it came into getting into the points of the game where the game is going to be decided, 2, 3, 4 minutes left in a ball game or 2, 3, 4 minutes left in a half, I didn't think they were very organized. How you doing, Christopher? You know what I'm saying? It just didn't look very organized then. Thank you, Flex. And let's try to get it to 100 by, let's see here. You guys almost got it to 100 up here, man. Very cool, man. We're trying to get to 250 minimum. Like to get to 260 today. Don't forget, at 4:30, we will have Randy Cross from CBS Sports, and then from the NFL Network, Brian Baldinger will be with us at 5:30, and we will talk Eagles. I'm going to do something next here. Who's better, Dallas or Philly? 77 days to the start of training camp, May 14th. June's coming right around the corner. Your 90-man roster's got to be set. Who do I think is better? Who's better? Who do you think is better? We're going to look at units, quarterback, coaching, GMs. Okay? Hit the like button. Keep It Here National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, managing partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Hit the like button. Big Sills, National Football Show. Randy Cross, CBS Sports, 4:30. And then we'll talk to Brian Baldinger at 5:30 Eastern Time. Get his take on the Eagles, the Eagle Draft, the NFC East, and also the National Football League. We'll talk to our friend from the NFL Network. That will be at 5:30 Eastern Time. Look at Jared Goff here a little bit. 53 per year over 4 years. 3-time Pro Bowler, 31,000 passing yards, 185 touchdowns in 117 games, 94 quarterback rating. That's not horrible. I'm a Dallas fan, but I like Philly too. I don't hate no one from the NFC East. Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate that. What do you make of that with Jared Goff? Are you shocked? In 117 games, he's thrown for 31,000 yards. 3-time Pro Bowler. He's approaching 200 touchdown passes. I mean, how many games has Jalen played total so far? How many games has Jalen played in his career? 117 ball games, is that right? Jalen Hurts stats. Let's see how many games Jalen's played. So Jalen Hurts has played in 62 ball games. And he's currently at 12,000 passing yards. So if he stays on this current pace, he'll throw for around 21,000 yards in 114 games. Goff's at 31,000. And he's got 185 touchdowns. Goff's a superior passer. And his rating dictates that too. And he had a great start to his career. Well, outside of the first year with Jeff Fisher. After McVay got there, he had a great year. I mean, Hurts is never going to be a prolific passing number guy. It's going to be evident. He's never going to be what the league is. And I think that aggravates Jeffrey Lurie because he's always coveted having the high-profile offense. Isn't it funny? Your receivers are bigger stars than your quarterback. They are. If I were going to draft anybody off your offense, first or second, it'd be your wideouts, not your QB. Most teams that are prolific in offense, you take the quarterback that's on those teams. You're not taking a wide receiver off Baltimore. You're not taking a wide receiver in Cincinnati. You're not taking a wide receiver in Buffalo. You're not taking a wide receiver in Los Angeles with the Chargers. You're not taking any of those. Jared Goff has done a nice job, man, especially with a guy that people were thinking was going to be in the garbage scrap heap, and he was going to be sent to the abyss like quarterbacks like Ryan Tannehill. Mike, that is really a great take, Mike. Goff has had a sneaky career. He's had – no, Trent Dilfer never threw for the amount of yards that Jared Goff has thrown for. Absolutely not true. Absolutely not even remotely close. This is a 4,600-yard passing guy. Dilfer couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. This guy's put up prolific numbers. And actually, you want to hear something? Would we not agree? Jared Goff is getting better as he's getting older. You look at Dak and you go, am I right? Is Dak getting better? Hey, Niner all day. Would this be fair about Jared Goff? Who would you take right now? Jared Goff or Dak Prescott? Who would you take right now? If you had to pick a quarterback for your team, and you wouldn't say this 3 years ago, okay? Hey, 304. That's right, Troy. He not only hits the 4,000 passing mark, but he also hits the 30 touchdown mark pretty consistently every year. And he's up near 93 with quarterback rating. Look, I think it was just people hating on Dak. Dak's not a turnover machine. He was 2 years ago. Okay? He was 2 years ago. I'd take Goff over Hurts and Dak. Well, as a passer, he's better than both for sure. His numbers dictate that. By the way, that St. Brown kid, Xander, is that right? St. Brown? Isn't it funny? St. Brown just got a $30 million a year deal because of Jared Goff. Not because of Matthew Stafford up there, but because of Jared Goff. Got a $30 million deal, makes more than Cooper Kupp now. I mean, you're right, Mike. It's a sneaky career. Hurts is not better than both. He has not done one thing in his career so far that equals or duplicates it when it comes to individual talent. Nothing. Zero. Not close. Nothing. It's not close. I mean, his Goff is a traditional 4,200, 4,300 yard passing and 30 touchdown guy, no matter where he is. The least talented player in the Eagle huddle is your quarterback. Barkley's more of a talent. Receivers are more of a talent. The O-line's clearly more of a talent. Do you ever think about that? The least talented guy in your offense is your quarterback. Would you take Jalen Hurts over A.J. Brown? Would you take Jalen Hurts over Devontae Smith? Okay. Dude, how can you – hey, Prince, let me ask you this, Prince. How can you form an opinion off of 1 year? How can you form an opinion off of 1 year? How? How can you form an opinion off of, hey, dude, quarterbacks have great years on bad teams too. The reason that Hurts sucked wasn't the defense. The reason Hurts sucked is because he sucked. How many quarterbacks have we seen put up great numbers, have great years, and the team's not good? No, those are facts. Sills, can Hurts improve throughout his career like Goff did? Yes. Corey, with a course change? Yes. 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 When Goff was all pro, I'm waiting. When Jalen Hurts was first team all pro, I'm waiting. Never. Goff hasn't improved. Goff hasn't improved. Hasn't won shit. He just got paid $53 million. Something happened. Or you just think they threw shitty money after shitty money. But then again, could be because your guy got shitty money. Hurts wins the Super Bowl before Goff. We'll see. I say he never gets back there. I say he never gets back there. He has whatever. Hey, dude, throw for $4,000. Help me out. All right. Let's get to the topic here. Sit around bashing an average guy. It's unbecoming. It's like talking about your coach all day. Why? Goff won't ever get to a Super Bowl. He's already been to one. What do you mean he won't get to? He's already been to one. And he lost to Belichick and Brady. Bills are stacked with no name, and Bills have nobody on the offense. Yes, we got to the playoffs without, okay, let's see here. All right. Who's better? Cowboys or the Eagles? Let's start with coaching. Mike Zimmer and Mike McCarthy versus Nick Sirianni and Nick Sirianni and Kellen, I guess, and Vic. Who's got better coaches? I say the Cowboys do. I don't think Vic Fangio is any better than Mike Zimmer. You can ask anyone about Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer's won. I believe Mike Zimmer has a Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, to his name. It might be in Denver. I forget where it was. I don't know if he was in Dallas. I think he was on a coaching staff. He could have been on that Cowboy coaching staff with Switzer. Let me take a look at that. Mike Zimmer, Wikipedia. I think Mike may have a Super Bowl. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Super Bowl champion, yeah. He was with the Cowboys when they won the Super Bowl. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's right. He's a former assistant coach of the year in the National Football League. And he was the defensive backs coach the last time they won the Super Bowl, assistant defensive coordinator. So he's got a Super Bowl ring along with McCarthy. So the coordinator has a Super Bowl ring in Dallas, and the head coach has a Super Bowl ring. It's all to be said there. So two guys with rings. Cowboys get the nod there. General managers, Jerry Jones and Howie Roseman. Howie does a masterful job with contracts, cap management, sensational stuff on the cap stuff. Just it almost overwhelms the poor picks he has on defense. He's so good at that. And I do think there's a talent that he has when it comes to finding deals like the Gardner Johnsons on a low man on a roster somewhere. You get a guy on a cheap deal. He's constantly scouring pro. I think he's better on the pro personnel side. I don't really think it's close. I think Howie Roseman is without a doubt a better general manager than Jerry Jones has ever been in his entire life. And it's actually not close. And that kills me to say. But Jerry Jones, sorry, 304, it's not close. It's just not close. Because here's the one thing, too, you got to look at. Jerry Jones has never been able to duplicate. Never been able to duplicate what Jimmy and those guys did back in the day. He's never been able to duplicate getting even to a conference championship game. So there's not a chance the Cowboys have a better general manager. It's not even close. Not close. So the GM is Eagles. Quarterback. Hurts or Dak? What do you got? Hurts or Dak? I have a different spin here on this. Hurts. Eagle goes, I got to go Dak. Hurts. Dak is due for an injury. Jalen, Twist says. Senor. It's a way to look at it. All right, here's my take. If I had to pick between Prescott and Hurts, Jalen's not going to make a spectacular play for you in the air. And I don't believe he's going to make as many poor plays as Dak does in games. He may have a few. Last year, because they asked him to do a lot of things differently, I think he probably learned a little bit more about protecting the football from last year. You know, last year might help him. Steve, that is so – look at Steve. It's clear – Hurts is clearly better. Last year, he was nowhere to be seen. Dak finished second in the MVP voting. He was second in the MVP voting. Where's it clearly better? He had 9 picks, 30-some touchdowns. It's not clearly better. But I do think that Dak Prescott has a propensity to just, in big moments, shrink. And I don't trust him in big moments. I just don't trust him. There's something about Hurts, and this is what I do like about him. I don't believe he's going to shrink like that. I think he shrinks. And I get it. Dak's 9-4. And Hurts is 3-3 in Cowboy games. I get it. Okay? But if I'm going to pick a guy not to turn the ball over, I'm going to pick Jalen Hurts. Hurts doesn't make spectacular plays, though, through the air. I thought you watched highlights, sir. He made no spectacular plays in the air last year, 0. He's not the RPO was nowhere. Sorry, sir. 15 picks and 22 touchdowns. It's not spectacular. This guy's not even 2-1 in interception to touchdown ratio. He's 1-1 almost. This guy has almost as many picks as he did touchdown passes. Think about that. 15, this guy had 15 turnovers, and this guy had 22 touchdown passes. Let's not go there. Bills game, dude, there's more to a season than 2 quarters of good football. And I just said I would take Jalen Hurts over Dak because he's not going to make the colossal F up. Offense. I don't know where the Cowboys are going to get it from this year. O-line's better. Running game will be better. Receivers, 2 are better. The tight end, I might take the Dallas guy because Goddard's not reliable. I don't think that's remotely close. I mean, like the Cowboy offense versus the Eagle offense, on paper at least, I don't see it. And I'm with you, JM. I think Dallas got worse in the run game and at the wideout position. I just don't see it. I don't. That's Eagles. Let's go defense. We're asking who's better, Dallas or Philly? Dallas's front 4 or Dallas's front 3 versus the Eagle front 3. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter. They were not very good last year. I like Carter better than anything they have in Dallas. Parsons is a better pass rusher than anything. Now that you've got rid of Hassan Reddick, they have better pass rushers than you. Josh Sweat has been demoted to second team. I think that's a push. Dallas has got better pass rushers than you. And more consistent pass rushers. More consistent. They're just better than you at rushing the passer. So I believe the issue is not people confuse being better with better upside potential. I hate that word potential because it's something you haven't done. Parsons is good. He is. Okay? He is. I would say that the front seven, the Eagle linebackers are atrocious. Zimmer's a better coordinator than Vic. Not by a lot. Not by a lot. And both coordinators have people in their way. The Eagle Analytics, and Mike has Jerry Jones in his way. If he wants to do something, you still have to manage Jerry on that side too. But he's been in the building before with Switzer and with Jimmy. That's pretty close, man. I think it's a push. The cornerback position, I think the Cowboys have you there. You don't know what your rookies are, and there's two guys that have made the Pro Bowl. And you're getting Diggs back. So you get Bland and Diggs, both Pro Bowlers. I mean, you got two guys back there that are better. You don't know what Mitchell's going to look like. And if you go Bradbury and Slay, they're not better than the Cowboy corners. Actually, look at this. Nick thinks that the Eagle corners are better. Who? Mitchell, who's never played it down, and Slay, right? And the Cowboy guys are all pro. One guy had 6 touchdowns last year. Really. So you think a guy from Toledo's better? Really? And your safeties aren't better. I think Dallas has a better back end. So the defense probably goes to the Cowboys. Now, they were both soft as cheese last year. When it came to playing against the run, they got annihilated, both teams, especially against teams that ran the ball at them, both. The Eagles fell apart, and the Cowboys could be run on. I just think that the Cowboys have a better safety group and also a corner group. They're littered with all pros. Eagles have none of that. Cowboys lost their starting quarterback. Stephon Diggs? No. They let Diggs go. I mean, they let Gilmore go because Diggs is back. And they got Diggs and Bland at the corner position. 2 all-pros. Look at Christopher. Pactor shredded it. And the Bucs shredded you. Only difference is Jordan Love did it. Baker Mayfield did it to you. And Christopher, that's why Gilmore has been sent. Okay? Here's where I'll go now. Who's better? Eagles or Cowboys? Who's better? Isaiah Rodgers. We'll see. Give me all pros, guy. Nick. You give me rookies and Isaiah Rodgers, who's been out of here. Okay. We'll see. Who are those? Who's Isaiah Rodgers? Who is Isaiah Rodgers? When you got a guy in Diggs and Bland who are all pro. Who are those? Who's Isaiah Rodgers? A guy you're inflating again? Like you do your draft? Stop it. Tell me who you have right now, not what you want them to be. That's not the point. They're better than you at corner. Now, who is better, Dallas or Philly? 77 days to the start of training camp. Here's why the Philadelphia Eagles are better than Dallas. And at 304, I hate to do this to you, but the Eagles are better than the Cowboys because they can beat you with multiple ways. You can't. Who's running the ball for you if you shut Dak down? Who's the running back in Dallas right now? Ezekiel Elliott? Man, if you're counting on that relic to carry your offense, you're going nowhere. I mean, the Eagles can run the ball on you. They can throw it on you. They just can beat you in more multifaceted ways than what Dallas can. Dallas has they're limited in how they're going to try to even get points on the board. Now, look, you're not better than them defensively. You're not. Now, the upside of that is, Sills, let's do this. Let's play the what-if game. What if Mitchell's good? What if Cooper DeJean turns out to be somebody really good? Yes, I get it. Right. Yes. But today, you don't know that. I'm going by what Dallas has now and what you have now. So you do have something Dallas doesn't have. You have potential to be better than Dallas doesn't have potential. Dallas doesn't have potential. And as Barb just points out, Dak blew the Cowboy window. Dude, they've won 36 games the last 2 years. And that's a good point there. And you're starting to lose people. It all started with Amari Cooper. You lose Amari Cooper. Then you lose Zeke. Then you lose Tyron Smith. Hell, you almost lost Zach Martin last year. The Cowboys are losing players, and the Eagles are adding players. And they're also drafting potential. I mean, the Cowboys are falling behind. They're just falling behind now. Dart says, how long before the fans start to boo Hurts? First week? Hey, Dart, how long did it take you to start booing Wentz? So, to finish that up, I think the Eagles are better, and I think the Eagles are starting to separate themselves from the Dallas Cowboys. I think that gap could be wider this year. Okay? Because I don't see how Dallas looks one-dimensional to me. The Eagles don't. The Eagles do not look one-dimensional. Dallas looks one-dimensional. And so I think that's a problem. Okay? I just Clueless Sileo, get a clue. Cowboys have 8 all-pros. Who's your all-pro linebacker? Who's on your first-team all-pro D-line? If you're counting, Michael Parsons, okay. Or if that's right, he's not constituted as a linebacker, so they're looking at him as an end. Okay, so you got him. Then your corners, you got 2. Let's try to make them in a calendar year. Who are your all-pros on offense? Who's your all-pro? Dak? Zach? And who else on offense? CD. Who else? You have 8 all-pros, and you got your shit kicked in by the young Packers. And then get this. They sent you home in a school bus because they beat your ass so bad. I'd be 8 all-pros, and you got your faces worked over by a young Packer team? Yeah, you looked real good in that playoff game at home. Hey, at least the Eagles were on the road in Tampa. You were at home getting your shit pushed in. 8 all-pros got all embarrassed, including the entire organization. The game was over in the first 5 minutes. Why did you even get off the bus? Why'd you get off the bus? You beat the shit Eagles. Hey, congratulations. The Eagles, at least. Let me say this to you. Hey, Ultra Cowboy, the Eagles had a shitty ending. And for them having a shitty ending, you backed into the NFC East crown. You backed into the NFC East. The Eagles lost it. I'd rather look at it like this. We played some shitty ball down the stretch, and they still won 11 games. You played great ball. And by the way, how about getting beat by Jim Harbaugh in Buffalo? What did they throw the ball? 4 times? Hey, think about this, folks. The Buffalo Bills threw 4 passes in a game. Like 4 passes. Like it was a 1938 Newt Rockne game. We're going to beat them, boys. Hey, when we're down a little bit, boys, we're going to run the ball, boys. Hey, don't worry. You might be feeling a little bit here. We're going to run it. We're going to run it right. We're going to run it left. We're going to run it in the middle. Cowboys got 31 points put on them by a football team that ran the ball, threw the ball 4 times. Damn, dude. That's like Sammy Ball shit. You know, they didn't wear face masks. They rolled their helmet up and put it in their back pocket. Hey, easy, Barb. Don't be throwing Notre Dame. I did. Excuse me. At least we beat the Bills. hey, Steve. Yeah, you did. And the guy had 500 yards on offense. The Cowboys lost to a team. Hey, Ultra Cowboy, you lost to a team that threw the ball 4 times. Honestly, man, like he was Bronco Nagurski. Hey, the refs helped. The refs helped. Dude, when you're beat 31-3, the refs ain't helping. You would need a life support system. You know those things, what the Cowboys needed in that Bills game? You know those heart things that you get your heart started? You put it on a guy and it kind of like shocks the shit out of him. That's who the Cowboys were in that Buffalo game. There's no response yet. He's dying. That's the Packer game and the Buffalo game. There's no pulse. What happened to the Cowboys? There's no pulse. Didn't the Cowboys beat the Eagles 33-13? Congratulations to you. They were 1-1 last year. You won, they won. You won, they won. You won, they won. Does it matter what the score looked like? And then you turned around and got your shit beat up by San Francisco. Oh, by the way, at least one thing you could say this about the Eagles. They didn't get annihilated by they did. The Arizona Cardinals beat them. So wait a minute. The Cardinals beat the Eagles and the Cowboys up? Shit. That Jonathan Gannon can coach. Wait a minute. Wow. The Cardinals, I got to be careful there. The Cardinals beat the shit out of the Cowboys and the Eagles. God. I almost walked into that one. Holy cow. How do you lose to a 4-win team? The Eagles got beat by the Cardinals, and the Cardinals beat the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. Good grief almighty. And I don't even know who's on that Cardinal team, except for Kyler Murray. The kid Connor, the kid from Pitt. Is he still on that team? Forte. Gandy gets the regular season Sills Award. Yeah, you beat up on the Cowboys and you beat up on the Eagles. Congratulations. I am, Greg, going to watch that game tonight. I am going to watch that game. Hey, I'm going to watch that game more than I'm going to watch that stupid Knick game at Madison Square Garden. Hey, Xander, where are we? Where are we in the likes count? Let's see where we are in the likes count here. We got to get this thing up to 250. Guys have been killing it the last 10 days. Oh, man, don't tell me it's 127. Come on, guys. I need your help, man. I need your help. We need to get that thing up there, man. We're an hour and 40 in. So let's get this bad puppy up. I want to try to at least get to 200 by 15 after the hour. Don't forget, at 4:30, we're going to get Rand Cross on with us from CBS Sports. And also at 5:30, we're going to get Brian Baldinger on the program too. So don't worry, after Clueless Sills spoons with Mark Holmes tonight, he will say the Cowboys are better than the Eagles tomorrow. No, Mark, I hate to tell you this, ultra clueless. He's not coming on tomorrow. I think he got beat up too much. That's why he's not coming. I'm going to give Philly 500 on, though. But I think he took an ass beat in the last couple weeks. He wants to take, I don't know, something. It's like people in the Philly market. What's that thing Xander calls me? An antagonist? I'm like a professional antagonist or something. That's what my wife said. By the way, you know that shit that I was saying about everybody going after big sales? Oh, it's even more heated now. You know, my wife said, Xander, just so you know, you think that's a merit badge? I go, yeah. She's like, how's that worked out for you? Make you a little nervous? Well, she goes, what's the matter? Hey, Big Mouth Sileo. So you like it that a professional sports team is doing everything possible to stop your show? That it possibly can. This is my wife talking to me. I told my wife what Xander told me after the program. Not going to go deep into it, but she's like, how's that worked out for you? She goes, I hope you don't talk like that on your show. This brought me down. She goes, what's the kid trying to tell you? Let's make some money, dog. Can't you play the game? I can't. Because if I play the game, I'll sound like everybody and nobody will care. That's why they care. Whew, man, you guys should hear the heat. I want to give you guys so much kudos before I take a time out here. You are making such an impact in Philly. You don't even know it. I wish to God I could tell you more. Man. And I got to say this. Joe Krause and Xander, these guys don't have Raisinets. These guys got bowling balls. You have to have them. With me on your network, you have to have bowling balls. You can't have little Raisinets like at IP or the Fanatic. You can't have Raisinets with Big Sills on your network. They hate me so much. The Eagles hate me so much. They hate everybody I'm associated with. Oh, man. All right. Let me take a time out here. Oh, man. All right. Hey, the strength of schedule did come out. Tomorrow, by the way, the schedule comes out. We'll take a look at that. Merrill Reese does love me. Xander made that point. Geez, the show is, got to give and take command one time. Oh, man. Hey, get this, guys. Okay? The birds don't want me talking to you the way I am. They want me to stop. They want me to stop talking to you the way I talk to you. They want me to do a different show. It's like when I got the job in San Diego. Can you please do a more softer show? Why'd you hire me? They gave me $300,000. Odyssey gave me $300,000 to leave 1090, and I did it. I've posted it. My contract, 3 years. 3 years at $320,000, something like that. Guy calls me in the office, Kevin Callahan, director of programming. He goes like this, can you please do a softer show? It's just too harsh on them. Padres are complaining. I go, well, the Padres haven't been good since 1969. The only thing they're known for is Tony Gwynn and hamburgers. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, how about try that one out? Well, they haven't been good since they became a team in 69, and the only thing they're known for is hamburgers and Tony Gwynn. I don't know. Back in the day, WIP was – no. Back in the day, WIP wasn't a good station. It was a great station. I would love to have Washington Channel like this. James, feel free to bring up your Commanders. Feel free to do that. Okay? Feel free. You're right, Sills. They should pay. They should play for free. Who? Soft show's too boring and no rating. By the way, Steve, when I listen to those radio shows in Philadelphia, Steve, I hear you and the fans of Philly that move the needle. You guys are moving the needle on this show because you like this style. You don't like that style in the afternoon on IP. You don't like it. But you know why the ratings are high? Eagles, Phillies. You take those two teams off that station, implode. That talent can't carry that. You take the Eagles and the branding of the Eagles. And that's why IP has their ass in a bind over there. You know why? The Eagles dictate content. You take the Eagles and the Phillies off that station, JAKIB will destroy them. Oh my God. No. Not my favorite show. Not Ike. Not Ike and Tina. Is it Ike and Tina? Is it Ike and Tina Turner that's on that? What's the name of the show? Ike and what? At 144, thank you, Prince. It's Ike and what? Ike and Tina. What is it? Or is it that the conflict of interest with WIP? If you brought Reese on the show, I'm guessing he's on that network. Denny, they're not allowing anybody from WIP or Odyssey to come on. I'm not allowed to be on any Odyssey station in the country. That's across from coast to coast. Jeff Sololano's made it very clear. Nobody's to come on, and I'm not to go on any station in America. So the only place you get me is here. Do you know how many requests I get to do on a daily basis? Hundreds. From other, I do not do it. Now, if you're on my program and I ask you to come on, I will go on yours. Okay? Why is it so effing hard for media to just keep it real? Roland, have you not been watching the news? Keeping it real? Roland, don't you understand? That's the controversial part of this. I left listening to IP for Sills. Adam, thank you. Don't you get it? How about this? You know, how many people think, for me, you guys do this for me. Sills, that's just not true. Okay. I speak my truth, what I think is true. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It's my truth and how I see things through my lens. You guys may be totally right. I may be way off. But that's controversial. Making lies up is mainstream. Speaking your truth is controversial. JFK Jr., Trump, even Biden, all of them. Hit the like button challenge. Thank you, Sean. You understand that? My truth is controversial. Like, people that are in that building with the Eagles would rather have me lie than tell my truth. That's the controversial part. I never thought telling the truth. See, the more truth I speak and how I see it, the more controversial I am. I have no idea what it really means. You know, shock jock by telling the truth. James goes, truth is right, though. James, but this is what people don't want you to say. My opinion is that Jalen Hurts was paid too soon because he only had 1 year to prove. And was that an anomaly of a year? Or was that something that we're going to see as a trend? I still don't know because he followed it up with not a very good year. Now, is Jalen going to be 22? Let's do this. Have you ever seen a good story on the front page of a newspaper? Absolutely not. We cover train wrecks in this country. We don't cover Good Samaritan stories. You don't put work done on the front page of a newspaper, building 275 homes for single moms. He's on the backstory. You know, nobody wants that. They want Antonio Brown, Aaron Rodgers, Big Sills. Those guys at least speak something and say something, even if it's psycho with Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown, that wears out because you know why? I'm not trying to do that. Here's what I say about Hurts. Is Hurts going to be 22 or 23? Or is he going to be the guy in the middle? And is the middle good enough to win? Ask yourself that. Let's just put it this way. If 22 is the best he's going to be, and 23 is going to be the worst he's going to be, which isn't that far. It's not like here. He had high turnovers. Not horrible. Threw the ball more. So he's kind of like right here. Is this area good enough to beat Patrick Mahomes? Is that good enough? If he never touches 22 again, and he never touches 23 again, is the guy in the middle good enough to win? I don't know that. I think he looks like a lot of guys in the league. That's what it looks like to me. Okay? Seals was right about, I was read about Eagles last season. James, thank you. WIPI might try and see if it's better. Christopher, have at it. You know what I always tell people? Watch this. Try them all. You'll always be back. Because after a while, you'll be listening to it and you'll hear people and their call screeners pound all yes men. And nobody that goes back and forth and has a debate like you and I do. Hey, Christopher, ask yourself this. Have you ever heard a show in Philadelphia where you have constant people having a debate with the host on a segment to segment basis like we do? One day we're going to get the technology to where your voices will be heard. Ask yourself, Christopher, this. Isn't this the only show you listen to in Philadelphia that every segment is a debate between someone's take and my take? Right or wrong, we still have a dialogue. And it's not one-sided. Even my guests that come on disagree with me. I'm sure Baldy's going to disagree with me later on. I like having dialogue with folks. I do. Forte, I'm going to take a look at that. There's no debate on 97.5. It's all arguments. Yeah, but that's just screaming at each other, and it's white noise. I don't want to, because you know why? You have a conference call, and you got 17 guys in one room all trying to make a comment. I don't want to talk to people in the room. I want to talk to you. Make sense? You're the people that move the needles, the Nielsen ratings. You know what a PPM is? It's a PPM meter. Goes on the side of people that are in Philly. It represents 5,000 listeners, and they mail them out each month. Or I think every 3 months they mail them out, or every 6, I forget. I actually know the guy that made it. He worked at Clear Channel back in the day. That's how your ratings are dictated. People used to, back in the day, write down, I listen to Angelo. Now there's a thing called people meters. They're called PPM. And those things, it's very scientific, but I think it's very flawed. This here, one thing I've learned, you don't like what's being said? Goodbye. And it's quick. I didn't realize that when I was on the air and the radio, how fast it was. Some of the bullshit topics I came up with. I mean, I must have come up with the dumbest topics because my wife who used to produce my show, this is freaking boring. Yeah. Hey, and my wife's the best producer on the planet, man. No, love everybody, man, but my wife would just go, that's terrible. Let's move on. Stop talking NBA. No one cares. As much as Big Sales annoys me, I'm always back. I prefer real, not fake. Chris, that's all I have to offer you, Chris, is genuine. That's all I have, Chris. Chris, it's really all I have. I'm not a great speaker. I'm kind of smart. Wouldn't say overly. I've been doing this a long time, but I learned one thing. If I'm genuine with you, you'll see it. Right or wrong. You guys are here every day for one thing. Talking to someone who's not trying to bullshit you. I'm not trying to fool you. I'm not that smart. I agree, Peter. I agree. 4:30, we will have on our good friend Randy Cross from CBS Sports. 5:30, we will have on our friend Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network. Angelo was too real like you. The Eagle brass could not take it. Oh, hey, one, and thank you, Sean. I told Angelo what's going on again. He said the same thing Xander said to me. I know what he started doing. I can, and the wife in the background did this. Watch this. They were both clapping for me. Angelo and his wife were clapping. I said, I don't know, Angelo. He goes, dude, let me just say this to you. If they're not calling, you're a nobody in that market. They're validating you and your show and your network. I was like, yeah, man, I'm sick of being validated and fired at the same time. Dude, hey, I'm sick of being validated and fired at the same time. They're trying to take our entire business to silence big sales. They are, really. Did you know the pressure that Xander and Joe, I'll leave you with this and then we'll move on, I promise. They are putting so much pressure on these guys to fire me that they're trying to infect and they're trying to affect everybody that works here now because of their association with me. Have I really done anything here to you guys that's over the top? If I said a monkey comment or anything? Have I made any kind of racial comments? Have I done anything except talk ball? So when you go to the internet the next time you read something about me, ask yourself if you think it's real. Right there. Yo, people, keep JAKIB alive. We love our listeners, and I do. I couldn't do this without you. They're trying to silence this show so you don't have another platform. So you have to go back to listen to those ass kissers. I'm not kidding. I need you. All right. Let's get this thing back. Big Seal's taking shits on people. Hang on here. It's coming. Randy Cross, 4:30. Baldinger, 5:30. Xander, give me the running total, please. Let's see where we are. Let's see if we up this bad puppy here. 154, guys. We need to get to at least 250. Okay? We're at the, 154, with 2 hours left. All right. We're in there. Thank you, Brian. I mean that. That means a lot to us. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Delval Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Do me a favor, please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. trying to get to 250 as a base. Like to get it to 260 by the end of the program. Thank you guys again for coming here each and every single day. We have a lot of fun. Again, this is not rocket science. We're not trying to create a virus or anything or a vaccine, depending on who you are. Okay. We have every person in the world that does both, it seems. I'll leave it there. Okay? Yeah. I'll leave it there. I don't want YouTube on me next. So go ahead, hit the like button. I appreciate it. So you guys go like this. Sills, how is the NFL schedule dictated? I'm going to show you something here, and you can already see it, that this has been hand-picked. There's no way this is computer generated. Okay? So Patrick Mahomes plays in the first 2 weeks, Lamar Jackson, and then Joe Burrow, right? When that schedule comes out tomorrow night, and you see the actual games where they fall, I guarantee you all the big-time matchups with quarterbacks will be early in the year. Why? Because they don't want to have a disaster like last year. Do you remember the final? Am I right when I say this? Someone help me out. It was either the last week or the week before the last game of the season. Wasn't there Jets and Bengals to finish out the year? Wasn't there like Jets and Bengals? They were kind of like hoping Joe Burrow versus Aaron Rodgers, and not one of them were there. Right? So you're going to get all the great quarterback matchups early when this schedule is released tomorrow night, because they want massive ratings. Okay? They want massive ratings, and they want to get these quarterbacks on the field facing one another to get the maximum television for what? Revenue. National Football League doesn't give a shit about the Super Bowl until they get there. You know why? The NFL cares about advertising. Do you know that the National Football League is going to charge Fox $7 million for one 30-second commercial spot? Do you know how many stop sets there are in a commercial break? 6. 6. There's like 6 commercial breaks. There's like 6 commercials. Do that by 5 times in an hour or 6 times in an hour. Figure out how much money you're going to generate off the Super Bowl just in commercial ads. Just in the commercial ads. NFL give a shit about winning. They care about winning the ratings. This is why Jerry Jones is a god and why he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame because he's football acumen. He's in the Football Hall of Fame because he's a business savant. And he knows what he's doing at the end of the day here. That's what he's doing. What they don't care about revenue. It's all about spirit of competition. Nicely played, Roland. Hey, man, this is all about, win one for the Gipper. This is all about competition and sportsmanship, Sills. It's not about anything to do with money. Has nothing to do with money. You're right, Roland. Nothing to do with money. This has got everything to do with, that good old try. The good old American way. Yeah, $7 million for a 30. Okay. Shit. Congratulations to the NFL. It's a better version of WWE. They could lie to anybody. They tell you what you want to hear. The league is great at it. They tell you what you want to hear. Hey, the Eagles kind of play you like that too. They tell the local fans and the local media what they want to hear. And then guess what? They do the direct opposite. And it's more important for the Eagles to have a national perception of them than local. They don't care about local. They kick the local media in the face in Philly. Or I never realized those press credentials to NovaCare, it's like the golden ticket. It's like the Wonka ticket. Hey, I'm going. I'm like Veruca. I'm Veruca. Hey, Charlie, you get to sit here at the NovaCare Center when they're doing press conferences. Just don't touch the fizzy water wall, or guess what? You'll have your chocolate taken from you. Hey, Jeff, just make sure you don't contaminate the lake. It's pure chocolate. You know? Make sure you don't. Didn't you read the small writing when you walked into the NovaCare Center? It said no touching the fizzy lip walls. You contaminated it. We had to wash them all. You now get nothing. I want a snoozeberry. I like it. Hey, that's right, senor. Hey, don't forget, man. According to the NFLPA, you don't have a better mesh hall and a dining hall with great seats than at NovaCare. It's part of the press pass you get when you get credentialed. Yeah, first what you got to do is you got to go see the Department of there's a brand new department in the Eagle organization called the Department of Lang. It's like Langley. And what we'll do is he'll put you through the ringer just to see, make sure that you talk good things, say good things, and if you don't get credentialed. Nah. We'll take Guy from Marvel Comics before we take Sileo. Department of knee pads. I think they ran out of them, but they'll make new ones. Don't worry. Got to get your Howie knee pad, man. You know what? He's a Gator, dude, and the Canes are playing the Gator. Oh my God! August 31st, the Canes are playing the Gators too in Gainesville. Holy shit! Am I gonna go crazy? Because I think Miami's gonna beat the piss out of that Napier team. Oh man, I hope they murder that team up there in Gainesville. Oh man, I hope they just absolutely take a giant Howie Roseman on them. I cannot wait for my Canes versus those Gators, man. I want you to take a giant Howie Roseman on them. Whoa! There is nothing like going to Gainesville and beating the shit out of that team in the swamp. Nothing. And now it's even more with a little bit extra on it. Okay? A little bit extra. Twist goes McMuffin. Shit's on getting Saquon. He's credentialed. I know. John's one of the good ones. Trust me. He's had a few silly whippings. He keeps on going. I'll give it to him. Much and mad respect for him. Mad respect for John McMullen. You will never hear me ever say a bad word about John McMullen. Ever, ever, ever. And he has every right to. Okay? Mm-hmm. Xander just shut me up. At 173, keep pushing here, guys. Appreciate it. Don't worry. Bottom of the hour. Randy Cross will join us from CBS Sports. We will get his take on the Niners offseason. Also, some things that went on in the draft. We'll ask him about the Eagles. And also at 5:30, Brian Baldinger will join us. We look forward to that there. I want to bring this up here. So the strength of schedule came out for the 32 teams. You want to see some playoff teams that you're not used to seeing? Atlanta's playing the worst schedule in the league. With Kirk Cousins, I'm going to tell you right now. Watch this. This is just fun and games. How many wins do you think the Atlanta Falcons get this year? I'm going to say 11. .453 win percentage, the worst in the league. New Orleans, 2. I see they win 10 games. The most improved division in football will be the NFC South. Chicago and Carolina have the second worst schedule in the league. I think Chicago wins 9 games. I think Carolina wins 8 games. See how they do this, the league? It's actually fool's gold, because if you played a really good schedule, you're going to finish the way you did a year ago. Tampa Bay. I think the Bucs are going to win 10 games. So get this. The most improved division in football is going to be the NFC South. The NFC South is playing the worst football schedule per team. Bucs, Panthers, Saints, Falcons. All are playing the worst schedules in the league. So they're all going to be between 8 and 11 wins. Arizona. Let's see. This is 1, 2, 3. Arizona's got the 4th worst schedule. I say Arizona. I say they win 9 games. Miami. I say the Dolphins win 10. Seattle. I think they win 10 games. Watch how this plays out as we get towards the tougher schedules. You think the Cardinals can win 10 games? I think the Cardinals can win 10 games. Okay? Here is the 5th worst schedule. Indy, Philly, and Tennessee. I say Indianapolis. I say they win 10 games. Philly. I say Philadelphia wins. Look, I've already said to you guys, I think they're going to be a 7. But with this schedule, how do you not win 11 games? 5th worst schedule in the league? You might think that that's more. You might think 12. They're not picked to win more than Kansas City or Baltimore. But I mean, you have the 5th worst schedule in the league. You got all that offense. I know the defense is still a problem. I mean, Denny, I know. I don't trust the Eagle D. Tennessee, how many wins? 5th worst schedule. Got a shitty quarterback. What do they win? 7 games? All right. More than they did a year ago. Denver. 6th worst schedule. I just think Denver is not going to, it won't matter. No quarterback. I still think they win 5 games. They basically gave us a 22 schedule. Yeah. Death row. That's probably right. That sounds right. Here's the 7th worst schedule. Cincinnati. 502 win percentage. This is all going to come down to Burrow, but I say 11. Washington. 7. Minnesota. 7. Kansas City. I say 11. Now we get to the 8th toughest schedule. LA Rams. I think 9. 49ers. How many wins did the 49ers have last year? 13, right? $12. Dallas. I think Dallas has 7 wins. The Jets. I think the Jets have 7 wins. Detroit. 7th hardest schedule. How many wins they have last year? 12? 13? How many wins did Detroit have last year? Do you remember? Was it 12 or 13? Jets are not going to win 11 ball games with the 8th toughest schedule. Not happening. Lions got a tough schedule, man. The 7th toughest. I say they're a 10-win team. Sixth toughest. 512 win percentage. Jacksonville. I'm going to say 9. The Raiders. 6. New England. 5. How can New England, who had a shitty year last year and won 4 games, have the 6th toughest schedule? Is this just payback for all the years killing the NFC or the AFC East? How can you have, think about that, how can you have the 6th toughest schedule and you won 4 ball games last year? I mean, so wait a minute. You win 4 games, and now you got the 6th toughest schedule. Is it because the AFC? Guys, please hit the like button. Appreciate it. The Raiders? Yeah, no. The 5th toughest schedule. How many wins did the Giants have last year? They got the 5th toughest schedule. How did the Giants? So the Giants have the 5th toughest schedule. And what did they win last year? 5 ball games? Right? I get Buffalo. Buffalo's got the 5th. I think Buffalo wins 10. Giants win 5. Okay? Everyone forgets that playing shitty. Jalen still strapped this O coordinator for a dead weight team on his back. A dead weight team, everyone got paid. Tied for 4th, toughest schedule. Houston and Green Bay. Houston's going to walk back. They're going to win 9, maybe 8. Green Bay is going to win 9. Starts all out in Sao Paulo. The Steelers have the 3rd toughest schedule with Russell Wilson. I think I'm going to give Tomlin 9 wins because he doesn't lose. Baltimore won 14 games last year, right? 14, 13 games. They got the 2nd toughest schedule. No way. They win 12. And Cleveland has the toughest schedule with Deshaun Watson. I think they win 9. Now, teams are going to get better. Look at the teams down here at the bottom. Atlanta may make the playoffs. New Orleans may make the playoffs. Before we get Randy Cross on here, this is the thing that the league has always done. It always gives you fool's gold. Atlanta's got the worst schedule in the National Football League, okay? And you just signed Kirk Cousins. So, league knows. And as I said, what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of people looking at, look, I think New Orleans, Atlanta can make the playoffs. And the most improved division will be the NFC South, I believe. All right. Don't forget, Brian Baldinger will be with us at 5:30, but we love talking and catching up with our friend Randy Cross, the owner of 3 Super Bowl rings. He joins us right now. How you doing, brother? How's it all going, man?
Doing good, Dan. Doing real good. Yeah, the NFL this year is going to be an interesting deal after that draft.
How about this, too? You know what I said? You know, everyone goes like this. Well, this stuff is computer generated. I went, yeah, right. So, wait, Kansas City opens with Lamar Jackson, then plays Burrow next. I don't think that's computer generated. I'm doing it this way, Randy. Last year, because remember Cincinnati and the Jets, it was at the end of the season that one of those guys, Rodgers or Burrow, were playing, and you had a bunch of nobodies in the game. You're going to see more front-end games in this schedule this year, in my opinion, because the NFL wants to maximize ratings.
Yeah, well, you know, it might be computer generated, but the computers are owned by the networks and Madison Avenue. They know what they want to see. They know where they want to see them, and it behooves the NFL to give the people paying all that money what they want.
Randy, I got to ask you right out of the gate, after what you've seen for 3 seasons with Jalen Hurts, do you believe that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback?
I mean, he's easily a top 10 quarterback. He's got the potential, you know, with the right guys around him. How he adjusts to kind of that O-line minus Kelsey and whatnot, how he's going to adjust to that. He's going to have a lot of fun turning around and handing that ball to Barkley. That's going to be a lot of fun. But I think he can be. Yeah, I'm a big believer in what he can do.
What is a loss like Jason Kelsey mean to a quarterback like Jalen Hurts? And just to expand on that a little bit, Randy, Kelsey came out last week and said, you know, one of the things that Jalen still struggles with a little bit is interior pressure. And he kept turning around and telling him where to expect the pressure from, yet he still struggled. Now, he's still young in the process here. So he's still got to remember that a little bit here. But how much is that going to affect him when it comes to a guy who's not as experienced and Cam Jurgens taking over that role?
Yeah, it's face pressure is something. I don't even know how many great veteran quarterbacks are nuts about face pressure. I mean, you played with and against some pretty good quarterbacks. How many of them like that A and B gap pressure? I mean, that was the one thing that the New York Giants exposed about Tom Brady is if you can pressure those A and B gaps, you just can't get rid of the ball fast enough. You know, if your coverage is right when you're getting that kind of pressure in the middle. So I don't know. I think he doesn't like it, but I don't know many that do.
How about this too, Randy? One thing about identifying when a quarterback is that guy, I'm more impressed. The most impressive Super Bowl that you won is Montana's first compared to the rest of them. He played better than the other ones, but he played with, no disrespect to the guys that were the skilled players. Mm-hmm. He played with lesser star-studded players. Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, our leading rusher rushed for 450 yards. Guy named Ricky Patton.
Wow, I thought Wendell Tyler would have been the guy.
No, Wendell wasn't even there. It was Ricky Patton. I mean, we had Paul Hofer, but he got hurt later in 81. Lenville Elliott, Billy Ring. I mean, we had guys that were kind of workmen. They were were darn good, and they were good enough, but we didn't have many big rushers on that team.
Here's where I'm going with that. Jalen's got he's got AJ Brown, he's got Devontae Smith, he's got Barkley, like you said, he's got Goddard, and he's got that great old line. I mean, Jesus, man. What else do you want? I mean, you have pretty much an all-pro offense there, and if you can't put up, last year you almost had the same offensive group minus Barkley, but you still had a 1,200-yard back. I mean, you've got to move the chains here. You can't go 1-7 like you did down the line last year.
Yeah, it was a great start and then kind of a fading finish for the Eagles. And you know how it works in this league. You've got a window of opportunity. I don't mean one of those worn out windows like you hear, on the shows all the times on Saturday mornings and, in the morning when you get up and you watch it on TV. Oh, they've got a window of opportunity. That freaking window's a portal. And it's not open very long. And you get teams and suddenly you look around and you go, oh, wait a minute. That great, Love and the Packers are pretty damn good. The Niners found themselves a quarterback. They're pretty doggone good. And you talked about the NFC South, which is going to be much improved. I know a lot of people around here in Atlanta think, it's not unrealistic to expect like a 10-7, 11-6 kind of a season out of this team. So there are a lot of improving teams, and that's what not so much hurts, but the whole team. Philly's got to figure out where they're going to improve, where that incremental improvement's going to be. That's going to bring them to that NFC Championship game and that Super Bowl again.
Are the Niners the team to beat in the NFC, in your opinion, still?
I think probably. Yeah. I think their young quarterback's going to do nothing but get better. But they'd be the team to beat. I don't think there's anybody. Stafford and them with the Rams have always got that potential that they could be really, really tough. But without Aaron Donald, I think the defense is a lot different.
I mean, when does it get to a point when you sit there and look at Purdy and go like this? You think San Francisco is there right now, Randy? He's played 21 ball games. He's 17-4. He put up with the least amount of attempts with over 4,000 some odd yards. He was spectacular last year with spectacular talent. I mean, are they buying? Do you think this is the next $60 million or the first $60 million? Look what Goff just got. I mean,
oh yeah,
Jared Goff just got $53 million annually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's insane. I looked at my grandma and my mom and all those folks and went, just a couple decades too late, man. Hey, just a couple decades. You don't have to be superstar great anymore. You can get paid nowadays, but you think they're sold right now on it.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to. They've surrounded themselves with so much talent, and him with so much talent on both sides of the ball. There's nobody else in the NFC, I think, that stacks up, across the board roster-wise. And it'll be the same thing. If the Niners can stay healthy, they're going to be tough, and that's what got them last year at the end. They were healthy for 19 games.
Yeah,
and the 20th bit them in the butt. So that was unfortunate, but I don't see anything as far as a diminishing return on what they're getting, and they drafted pretty well for what they wanted. And I always thought that the draft was a little bit overrated. I mean, people losing their mind about a lot of things, led by our guys here in Atlanta going crazy. The reaction to Penix. Have any of you idiots watched college football? Do you guys actually see? And I know he's in the witness protection program, which means he's out west in football. But that kid is amazing, and he is going to be a stud in the NFL. Now, is there a chance he gets hurt? There's a chance everybody gets hurt. But he has got that arm. I thought the Falcons had two choices. They could move up to 3 and get themselves a quarterback there and get May, or they stay at 8 and they get Penix. And they decided to get Penix. May was he's sort of a mobile Matt Ryan. And the Falcons get a chance to get their next Michael Vick made with a quarterback that's left-handed and runs around pretty good.
Randy, but here would be my only question to you then. Okay, so you sign a guy for $200 million. You give Cousins 50 something or whatever the number is.
I think it's closer to 80 guaranteed. Yeah,
80 guaranteed. He's making $45 million annually now, and you got a quarterback you just drafted that's 24. So I would say this to you: well, how many years is he going to sit? 1, 2. I mean, by the time he gets a starting assignment, let's just say they go 2 years. That's 26. You all right with that?
I think so personally. And they've got the luxury to do it because they've got Kirk Cousins. And they have the luxury of doing it because they've got him sitting there in case Cousins does get hurt. Or the injury ends up being worse. Or he gets re-injured or something. No, I mean, if you're lucky enough to be in a position where some of the great quarterbacks have been, we talk about Joe all the time. Joe didn't play much his rookie year at all.
No, Steve DeBerg.
He sat and watched Steve DeBerg. I watched one of the truly great quarterbacks over the last 20, 25 years was Steve McNair with the Titans and the Oilers. And he sat and he watched Chris Chandler get the dog beat out of him for a couple of years. And he sat there like, hey, I'm good with this. I'm learning, but I'm good. You guys, you go ahead. I think it's a huge advantage to watch and learn. Why are you in such a hurry? You really want to be the next Mac Jones?
No. I'm with you here on that. I get it here. And again, as long as they're cool sitting with it. But I want to bring this up to you here. So here are the top 8 guys. 9 is Mahomes. Bengals, Burrow, 55 million. Goff, 53. Herbert, 52.5. Lamar, 52. Hurts, 51. Murray, 46.1. Watson, 46. Cousins, 45. Why do when I look at this list, I'm not sure any one of these guys on this list are going to really ever win a Super Bowl. When I look at these guys and go like this, do I really see anybody on that list that could potentially close the gap and have look, somebody on this list is probably going to win one. But do you believe paying just because the next guy's up like Goff, you're paying $53 million elite money to a really good player? I'm not saying he's awful, Randy, but I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow or he's Josh Allen or he's like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, are you all right? Or do you do what the Niners do? Hey, we had Garoppolo in here. We got Purdy in here on very reasonable deals. Let me just keep rotating those guys out every 3-4 years and build my roster up. And I got a play calling head coach that knows how to develop quarterbacks. I mean, he did have an MVP in Matt Ryan. Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl. I mean, he even took Kaepernick to a Super Bowl. Is that the way to go, or is it paying these guys?
Well, I've never confused paying a quarterback with any kind of consideration as to ranking and how good they are. It's been a long time, Dan, since the guys that made the most were the best players.
Yep.
Whoever's next.
I'm stuck in the old days, like when Marino and Elway and
Well, whoever's next, go down that list that you're just going through and go down to about 15, 20, and you're going to see a lot of deals that are about to come up, and that name is going to pop up into that top, near that top of that. That's just the way it is now. It's stupid because it doesn't seem like it makes sense that the guys that have achieved the most would make the most, but if you're lucky and you bring up the Niners in their situation, Lynch and Shanahan have done a masterful job, and part of it's been the quarterbacks, but the other part is what they've done with that roster. When they've had a quarterback making $850 for a couple of years here, they've been able to pay guys that they couldn't pay a quarterback making $50 million, and they won't be able to do that when they get a quarterback making $50 million unless the salary cap even goes more crazy.
Randy, I never looked at it like that, because you're right. Because remember when we were in the league, the NFL Players Association would send around a sheet of the guys who made the most money per position on what you were looking at, in case when your deals came up, we all knew who the guys were ahead of us. Well, usually the guys that were ahead of us wasn't because he was a third, fourth, or fifth year guy. It was because he was better. I mean, those guys were just better. and they were making the majority of the money, and you see where that money was. But today, it really is more about next guy up, whether it's a defensive tackle, wide receiver, quarterback, or safety. It's different than when you and I were there.
Yeah, it's just amplified now, especially at quarterback. Not so much, people won't keep track as closely of their top 5 or top 10 at running back or receiver or, outside linebacker, pass rusher or whatnot. They know the guys they like, but they don't, league wide, they're not that aware as they are at quarterbacks. But now it's whichever quarterback's deal comes up, he's guaranteed to be the guy at the top of that list.
I know you cover college football for CBS, and I want a couple questions with you there. I got Georgia as the top team in the country, and I threw these teams out here as my top 5 teams on how I see it playing out this year. I got Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Ohio State as the top 5 rosters. That's how I look at it. Early part right now as we're getting ready for August 31st. That's a pretty big weekend ABC has when it comes to all the games. Georgia's still the team to beat, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a big believer in Alabama. They're going to have to prove a lot without Nick. There was a list that came out yesterday that I was looking at, was the percentage of transfers or the percentage of starters still in place. And if you go through that list, it's pretty impressive, because most of the teams that lost coaches or fired coaches are going to be challenged to come back the most. I mean, the 2 that really stand out are Michigan and Alabama. One goes to the NFL, one goes to ESPN. But, what are you going to do? I would still not discount Alabama. I think Ole Miss has got potential to be really, really good. And they've had that potential for a while, but there's been that kind of stopper in the bottle for them they couldn't get past, and that stopper's gone.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, because there's a real hatred for Chip Kelly in Philly. And I was wondering if there's a hatred for the UCLA alumni, how he left that program in a lurch. Or are you okay with how he exited that for a position? I mean, he basically downgraded the UCLA head coaching job by taking the Ohio State OC job. And to me, I couldn't believe what a slap in the face that was to a legendary program like UCLA. Is it Southern Cal? No, but I'll make this point to you. Name me another California program outside of Southern Cal that's better than UCLA's program in the state of California. You can't, and that includes Stanford. Yeah. So I would just want to get your opinion how you saw that exit by him and the way he handled it.
Yeah. Don't let the screen door hit you where the good Lord split you. I think it's a huge upgrade. Getting rid of him. He didn't want to recruit. He didn't want to coach. He just wanted to play with the chess pieces and, be an offensive genius. Well, good. Go be an offensive genius at Ohio State, and God bless you. Because I've got nothing but good things to say about Deshaun Foster and my alma mater. I'm a big fan, and I think they've still got the potential to be really, really good. It'll be tested at the line of scrimmage, being in the Big Ten now. But not having Chip will not be a problem. There'll be a better program for it in short order.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing that I couldn't stand about him. USC had gone through so many issues with recruiting, NCAA stuff, and Chip had an opportunity to elevate the program just with surefire hard work. And it just shows you, in my opinion, that it was a lot to do with Phil Knight up at Oregon and what he did up there, because anybody who takes that Oregon job, including Mario Cristobal, and I love Mario to death, but hey, you get the Oregon job, it's pretty easy when you don't really have to worry about anything when it comes to finances with the Duck program.
Dan, when you're lazy and you're a quitter, how much are you really going to be missed?
You're not.
I don't think you are. And you've got a guy now that is excited about being there. You got a guy now that his players legitimately love. And, does that count for everything in college football? It counts for something. Not for everything, but it counts for something.
At least you're honest.
And it wasn't there during those days. Yeah. And at least you're honest. I mean, recruiting, who can be successful in college sports these days and not be a recruiter? Nobody. There's nobody doing it that isn't a recruiter. If you don't like recruiting, you might as well open a deli.
Right. You're in the wrong sport. Randy, did you play in front of a lot of people at the Rose Bowl? I know it's impossible to fill 100,000 people or when you're on campus, what have you. But Chip, that thing had you hear Troy Aikman making comments about it all the time. And Troy's going, what is this? There's 15,000 people, 20,000 people at a UCLA game. When I was recruited back in the day by Terry Donahue, dude, they'd send me pictures of the Rose Bowl filled with people at those games like that. And then when I look at it, what he did with it, he completely drove the fan base away.
Yeah, I played, Dan, I'll tell you how old I am. I guess this shows it. We played our games at the Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
But we played in front of, I think usually at least about 75.
Yeah.
And when we played SC, we get up to the, six figures. But the one game I did play in the Rose Bowl was against Ohio State, and there were 107,000 people in the stadium. So
is that when you upset them?
Yeah.
Was that John Shara quarterbacking?
Yeah, it was John Shara against Cornelius Green and Archie Griffin and Woody
They were
Hayes
number
and
one.
all that. Yeah, they were number one, and he was back-to-back Heismans. But, it's been an embarrassment for a while. I've been to a few games in the last few years at UCLA when I've had some off weekends. And it's been I sat there and just look around and go, this must be a hell of a tailgate scene because they're all going to have to haul ass to get in here in time for the game. But there's no problem. They weren't at the tailgates. They just weren't there.
Man, I got to tell you, man, you played in a really golden age, man, when SC football and UCLA football was at the pinnacle in the West Coast because 75,000 fans for UCLA, 80,000 fans, 75,000 fans for Southern Cal. I mean, awesome stuff. Gary Cobb comes on my program every Monday, and Cobb played at Southern Cal, probably played against him a few times, and he's like, oh, my God, those UCLA and USC games, it was a who's who was in the stands. Everybody was at those games. It was insanity.
Well, it's like to get the Auburn, Alabama, OU, Texas, like some of those Ohio State, Michigan. When you looked into the matchups, you got kids that have been playing against each other since the 9th grade. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on back and forth. And back then, that was really prevalent. And now, plus, remember, I only got hard recruited by 3 or 4 teams really east of the Mississippi. Notre Dame, Nebraska, Alabama, and, Texas, who's not east of the Mississippi, but that was it. And I was in Southern California, and I had a fairly good reputation in high school, and they just didn't recruit that much. Now, I mean, you look at everybody. Where does everybody go to get their skill players? They go to Southern California. They get their quarterbacks out of there, and the receivers out of there, and the running backs out of there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Randy, I got to tell you a real quick recruiting story. So I did go to SC and UCLA on a trip. And so I go to Westwood. I'm like, there's a country club in here. Is that the West? Look at that country club. He goes, yeah, well, let me just say this to you. If you don't have some figures in your bank account, you ain't getting in there. The place was gorgeous. Then this guy McGee takes me around, who was the AD at Southern Cal. And I go, why is the tarp up? Why is there a tarp up? He goes, well, we kind of keep everything in. Player comes over to me, goes, Watts is on the other side of that tarp. And I went like this. What? I said, wait a minute. So the other guy's got a country club and you got Watts on the other side.
Well, see, SC solved that problem over a course of about 20 years. They bought the neighborhood up. Now they've got a buffer zone.
It's a moat. Hey, hey, Randy, thank you so much for always checking in, man. I love talking with you, brother. Have a great one.
No problem, man. All right. Thank you, Dan.
You got it. Our friend Randy Cross, 3-time Super Bowl champion, works for CBS Sports too. We really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Brian Baldinger will join us at 5:30 Eastern. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Really cool there. Shady McCoy responds to Sileo. His Sileo ESP rant. Thanks, Eagle Nation, for making this show. Because as we pointed out, unlike Dick 24 here, here's who's responded and watches the show. And they prove it. See, Dick 24 doesn't really tell you the truth. Devontae watches the show. Shady watches the show. Darius Slay watches the show. Who else? A.J. Brown watches the show. The Eagles watch the show. Okay? All the players. By the way, always remember this, my friends. Twiz, right? Oh, that's right. Britton Covey also watches the show. I could have 10 viewers. They would all be Eagles front office, coaches, and players that watch my show. You could have a guy who watches another show and no one even knows who they are. I'm the one the Eagles call and call my bosses and threaten my employees that I work with to force my boss to try to fire me. There's nobody in Philadelphia that is on any radio station or television station or any platform like this that is under more heat than me. when you say that to be true, Xander? There's nobody in Philly under more heat than me. Nobody. Nobody. Should have heard the conversation yesterday. The Eagles are doing everything in their power to try to cancel me, threatening people I work with, and taking their credentials away because they know me. So, when you have innocuous people, and know this, guys, you know this better than anyone. We don't lie. You know why? What's it to me? Why would I lie to you? I don't know you from a can of paint. Why would I lie? John got his credentials. No, he did not. No, not yet. C24. I'm trying to inform you. I don't hate you either. Have a little fun. That's all. I don't hate you either. I'm just trying to inform. There's nobody under more heat than me. Nobody under more heat than me. Sills lies about loving Chip Kelly. I don't love anybody except my kid. And the people that show up here every day. Believe it or not, even C24. Because you support me. Sills' favorite song, I don't know you from a can of paint. That's one of my favorite lines. You used to back up Chip Kelly forever. No, I backed up some of his moves. Wait a minute, senor. Do you back up Chip Kelly's hiring of Jeff Stoutland? Yes or no? Let's play the game, senor. Do you back up the hiring of Jeff Stoutland? Yes or no? Do you back up the hiring of Stoutland? Senor, do you? Chip Kelly hired Jeff Stoutland. He brought him in. How about this, senor? Do you back up Chip Kelly for drafting Lane Johnson? Yes or no? Just curious. It was his call to draft Lane too, right? Yes? Okay. What was always my number one thing about Chip? Not a very good bedside manner. And that's why he was fired. Every dummy does one or two things good. He had a winning record in Philly. 2 years in a row, he won 10-plus games. He wasn't awful. He's just an awful man. Do you back up Chip did with all the black guys? What in the world does that mean? What in the world does black have to do with football? I have no idea what you're talking about. When I talk about the Eagles, I don't talk about black guy Eagles. I talk about football players. What does black and white have to do with football? What in the world are you talking about? Man. Chip was an asshole. Yes. Yes. Okay. You're talking about Lane Johnson, white. Jeff Stoutland, white. No, I'm talking about things that Chip Kelly did. So you wouldn't want Stoutland. You wouldn't want Stoutland or Lane on your team because they're white. Is that what you're saying? Senor, is that what you're saying? Because they're white, you don't want them. Huh. I don't know what to say to that. Mariota isn't white, and he was about to trade everyone for him. A lot of people thought Mariota was good. Tennessee drafted him high, too. I actually like Marcus Mariota. He's quite a guy. People in Tennessee absolutely revered the guy. He's a super kid, man. Too bad he just wasn't very good. Okay? Senor, that was the only comment I made. I never was a fan waiver of what Chip was as a coach. I said he did some things in there that helped set your Super Bowl 17 championship team up, which turned out to be true. Wasn't a complete failure. And what it has done is it's made Howie Roseman a monster now, and the fact that he'll never relinquish any kind of power when it comes to his analytics or front office ever again and never be put to the broom closet. That's an absolute fact. C24 goes, I don't see color. Color has nothing to do with sports and winning. If you're dictating you're winning on color or race or gender or anything, you're missing the point. You're in a sport to win at any means necessary. Cheating, beating someone up, getting an edge. I don't care what it is. No caring. Shout out Twiz, LJ, Flexin, Barb, the Steves, C24, Barb, Senor, Dick Train, the heart of the show, Wrench Steve. Thank you. Okay. Funny, the NFL is prejudiced. Very prejudiced. They only see one color, green. It had nothing to do with black and white. We're all pawns in the whole thing. NFL, hey, then again, Xander only sees two things. Views and revenue. Views and likes. Views and likes. That's it. You don't see anything else. Hey, Stills, I love you, but I really don't care. Hey, views and likes. That's it, dog. Views and likes. We're going to reset. Brian Baldinger is going to join us at 5:30. That's absolutely true. Lori could have fired Howie. He didn't send him on a oh, yeah, that's right. He went on that love journey with the guy from the San Antonio Spurs. Views and likes keep us on the air. How you doing? All right, where are we in this? Because I want to give Baldy a lot of time to come onto the program. What are we looking at here? Where are we in the world of our likes? Got to get to a benchmark of at least 250. Okay, we're at 194. Guys, gals, we are right there. We're right there. Okay, need about 55 and I'll be happy. 55 more likes. Brian Baldinger's going to join us. We're going to get his thoughts and a whole bunch of things when it comes to the Eagles, when it comes to the NFC East, and when it comes to the National Football League. Appreciate everybody coming aboard. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
They're carving them up, and good play calling along with.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. We will have Brian Baldinger at the bottom of the hour. Please hit the like button. From the NFL Network. I know Baldy is a massive Jalen Hurts fan. And I'll ask him if you can call a quarterback elite. Here, let's do this. Can you say somebody has elite talent, but they're not elite yet? Can both be true? Like, how about, here, let's use it this way. Do you think CJ Stroud is elite? Because you can't apply that to Hurts and say he's elite and not call CJ Stroud elite. Right? You can't. He's had 1 year. Do you think Jordan Love's elite? He had 1 year. Can you say Brock Purdy's elite? He's had 1 year. So all these guys are elite quarterbacks. Right? Isn't it funny? The word elite doesn't mean championship. Because it's so difficult to win those. Like, how many active starting quarterbacks are in the NFL right now that have won Super Bowls? Stafford, Rodgers, Wilson, Mahomes. Is it only 4? It's only 4 quarterbacks, isn't it? Think about that out of 32. Joe Flacco's not a starter. 4 starting quarterbacks in the National Football League have won Super Bowls. Right? Stafford, Wilson, Mahomes, and Wilson. There's only 4. And they're pretty spread out. Shows you how difficult that is to win. Everyone just go, well, the elite word, and get this, like Randy Cross said, just because you get the money doesn't make you elite. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Because you know why? You're being paid on numbers. Jalen Hurts, here's a great example of it. Joe Burrow, I think, is paid on what he's done as a player, but the problem becomes, son, you got to stay healthy. Jared Goff, I think he's paid on his numbers and his success. Hey, watch this. Isn't this crazy? Jared Goff has more accomplishments than Joe Burrow already. Herbert. Now, Lamar's got 2 MVPs. Goff's more accomplished than Hurts, more accomplished than Murray, more accomplished than Watson, more accomplished than Cousins. Jared Goff, like somebody said earlier, sneaky. A sneaky career. I'm going to bring this up with Brian Baldinger in a couple minutes. That's a sneaky career. It's a sneaky career. Prince says Sills is stuck in the past. Of what? Knowing what a great quarterback looks like? Like what? Montana? Elway? These are guys I played against. I've played against Montana. I've played against Elway. I don't see too many Elways. Maybe Allen. That's kind of maybe why I like Josh Allen so much. Okay? So I think people are mad that the show ended 5 minutes early yesterday because of Xander. This is why we don't have more like... Guy, we hit our number. Oh, really? Hey, why don't you go program IP? Worry about those guys. They need more help than we do, believe me. You hear them? You know, that's what they text me the other day. They go, hey, Sills, do you ever get mad that when people go over and test out? And I go, no, go listen to me. I encourage you. You'll be back. It's not that hard. I used to tell people when I was on the radio all the time, swear to you, I used to go like this. I implore you to listen to my competition. Just go listen to it. You'll be back. More accomplished than Hurts? Surely just because the time in the league, because Hurts' second season, he went to the Super Bowl. There you go again, Lennox. He went to the Super Bowl. Great. So did Jimmy Garoppolo. We keep doing this, going around in circles with it. Goff has been in the league 9 years compared to Hurts. Okay. I told you today he's better and more accomplished. Last year he had a better season. It wasn't close. Goff has done more than Allen by far. Yeah. Yeah. Hurts is not a gunslinger. He's a Swiss Army knife. But they're not using the Swiss Army knife anymore, Steve. If he was the Swiss Army, we'll bring that up with Brian as well. Hey, when he was the Swiss Army knife, I'm on board. I'm on board. I've told you this. I'm on board. 23 guy, I'm not on board with that. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to win a Super Bowl by trying to perfect the 23 guy. I don't believe that. And I don't believe Kellen Moore is going to be the end-all answer. Dak ran the ball 35 times in his career as an average per year in Dallas. Wasn't like the RPO was a main fact. Every time I hear people bring that up, I look at you're confusing running the ball with Jalen versus Dak. Dak didn't run the ball. He didn't run the ball. That's what made Hurts great. Jalen's best attribute is running, not a winning formula. Needs to learn from the pocket. Well, there you have it last year, Troy. That was his learning curve. 15 turnovers. He's got more of a learning curve ahead of him. Dude, I'll tell you what. If he has 15 turnovers this year, it is over. 30 turnovers in 2 years with that talent, it's unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable. I could put Kenny Pickett in there, get 20 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, and win games. You see, that's the problem here with this. You don't need high volume touchdown passes at the quarterback position. You need low volume turnovers. Jalen proves it. He won 11 games with 22 passing touchdowns, right? Okay. The problem with the team was the high volume of turnovers. Year previous, how many touchdown passes did he have in his MVP season? He had one less, didn't he? Didn't he have one less touchdown pass? I'll show you madness I'm a week, or you. Didn't Jalen Hurts have less touchdown passes in 2022 than he did in 23? He did. Had less. The key to Hurts is turnovers. It's not high volume numbers. It's the same with Lamar. Take a look at Lamar's career numbers. Outside of that year, he threw for 36 touchdowns, which is insane. Get this. I've never seen that number. Lamar Jackson threw for 36 touchdowns, led the National Football League in TD passes, and only had 3,100 yards passing, which is freaking unbelievable. Can you imagine what his yards per attempt on those touchdowns must have been? Had to be 8+. It's incredible. I mean, no one's ever going to confuse Lamar Jackson on putting high volume passing numbers up. But what makes him incredible and who's more difficult to play against? What's been proven out? I think the Eagles look at it this way. Who's more difficult to play against, a dual threat quarterback or a quarterback that beats you from the pocket? I mean, I think it's very simple. The dual threat quarterback is not the harder guy to beat. He's the easier guy to beat because it's never been done, really. The guy who is the person that wins from the pocket and makes calculated decisions in his running game, like Mahomes did in the overtime and in the second half of that game against the Niners, when he went for 64 yards. That's when he pulled that out of his tool bag and won that game. He didn't run like that during the season. You know why? He's not going to have a 10-yard run for a first down against the Raiders. He's going to do that in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. That lies the difference. Mahomes would rather lose a regular season game than not be in the final game of the year. He's so great, he'll throw you out of trouble. You can't get that with some of these guys in the league. That's his greatness. He'll lose a regular season game to the Raiders. He don't care. He ain't getting banged up for a 10-yard sprint. He's just not. That's not how he's going to win. He's going to win games getting everybody on the same page, like the wide receiving core, and they're going to play their best ball down the stretch like Andy always does. It was never important beating the Raiders. It was important getting your football team. They conceded that they weren't going to have home field advantage when the Ravens were playing so well. But they knew they'd beat the Ravens. They turned Lamar into a one-dimensional player, make him throw the ball, and he can't beat you from the pocket. Hurts can't beat you from the pocket either. That's what Steve Spagnuolo did in that game against the Ravens in the AFC title game. They knew he couldn't beat them from the pocket. That's why they went for 47 attempts. Made him one-dimensional. My standard for Hurts is 3 Super Bowls with that offense. Mahomes would tear the league apart with that offense. Look at Prince, 47 passing attempts. Wait, let me see here. Let's just see if that's – Prince says that's not true. How many passing attempts did Lamar Jackson have in the AFC Championship game? Excuse me. He threw 37 passes. 50% in the game. Lamar Jackson's not going to win games throwing the ball nearly 40 times. He's not. He's just not. And he's not going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs from the pocket. Just not. And nor is Hurts. Almost 40 attempts. That's not his game. Had the least amount of attempts. And for a top 20 quarterback, look at the stupid yards he had. They were nowhere. Jalen is not Mahomes. He's not a 5,000. He's not a 4,000-yard passer. Don't make it more than that. He's not even a 4,000-yard passer 50 times a game. He's Russell Wilson in 2012 through 14. He ain't that yet. He hasn't proven that yet. He almost did. Yeah, I know. Just like you almost beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It's funny how that guy still wins those games. Not a Ravens fan, but I think they will win it all next year. You're talking this coming season that you believe they could possibly win it all. I think Derrick Henry brings a lot to the table there with that. I really do. Hey, look, man, we started the program out with one of the most important conversations. By the way, Brian Baldinger will join us at the bottom of the hour here. We'll talk to our friend and get his takes on all this stuff and see where he sits on it. Mahomes looks for an open receiver. Hurts stares at a guy waiting for him to get open. Amber, that's because they're telling him where to throw the ball. They're actually coaching him more like a college quarterback than a pro quarterback. Okay? It was evident last year because of the inexperienced play calling when it came to game situational play calling. Lamar with Henry, can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it either. Hopefully they can both stay healthy. Oh, almost 4,000? I know. Actually, I've never seen that before, and I've said it before to you guys. I've never seen 2 years in a row where receivers go over 1,000 yards. And in each of those years, you had a guy with 100 catches. And I've never seen it where the quarterback can't get over $4,000, let alone 3,900. I've never seen it in my life. Should be around Tua's number, 46. Where are we right now in the likes count, Xander? Before we get Baldy on with us, where are we right now? Want to get a likes count here. We are at 222, guys. We need 38. Okay, we 28 to get to 250. Let's do this here. Okay, that's the minimum. You guys have been awesome. This will be the 13th day in a row. You guys will hit the 250 mark. So, Mark, I appreciate you keeping it up there with us, too. Something wrong with saying Hurts needs to improve his flaws. People fight like they didn't see the last 8 games. It's embarrassing. Troy, I don't know why people do that either. There's nothing wrong with improving, is there? Or saying that a guy. See, get this, Troy. They call that hating when you say the guy has to improve in reading defenses. He has to improve in picking up blitzing. I don't believe there's anything wrong with that. I think it's one of the most difficult positions, if not the most difficult position in all of sports to play, is the quarterback position. And they're under some sort of guise that this guy he's impervious to criticism. Why is that? Especially when you make that kind of money. I don't get it. It's not hating to want to see the guy perform at his best. Get this. Isn't that crazy? I want to see Hurts perform at his best, which is a 22 style. And you criticize me because I don't like the 23 style. Do you? It's 1 year, Sil. I know. So was 22 1 year. Yesterday you mentioned that the 49ers defense let them down. However, the same cannot be said for our defense when we played them in the Super Bowl. I thought the Eagle defense gave it up too. Same way the 49er defense gave it up. Mahomes made the play that mattered the most. Hey, one thing is for sure. Jalen Hurts outstatted Mahomes. But Mahomes outplayed him when it mattered most. What would you rather have? Big stats or Nick Foles? Brady put up big numbers. Brady outplayed Foles. I didn't see it that way. How many people think Brady outplayed Foles in that 17 Super Bowl? How many people believe that? How many people believe that? That Brady outplayed Nick Foles. Brady had more numbers, like Jalen had more numbers than Mahomes. Right? I love Hurts, but it is what it is. Charlie, go back to 22, and you're good. You go back to 22, you're good. Foles outplayed him. Eagle defense outplayed their defense by enough. Right, Forrest? They made one more play. The Eagle defense made one play. That's all that counts. That's how I look at it, too. No one is going to care about that. I don't give a shit about holding Brady. So you held Brady to 500 yards or something, whatever he threw for. Who cares? You won. That's a beautiful thing about pro ball. It's not like college ball. This isn't a beauty pageant. It's got nothing to do with shit. Absolutely nothing to do with that stuff. I think it's going to be incredibly crazy to watch and see how this dynamic between Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni plays out this year, especially early. And get this, who do you think is more on a hot seat? Jalen or Nick? Early in the year. Who do you think is more in ownership's radar? So, Nick, you think he's on a short leash? Fly Eagle. Nick's on a short leash. Sirianni. Prince says everybody should be on a hot seat. He's right. You're either going to do it now or you're not. We're efforting our friend Brian Baldinger. We hope we can catch up with him here. Brian's usually pretty good about it, so we'll wait here for him. Do me a favor, please hit the like button. We talked a little bit about where the Eagles are in the NFC East. You are better than Dallas. I don't believe Dallas has improved. I think the one area where you have improved is that you're continuing to add people. This is where I think you've gotten better than Dallas. Here's why the Eagles are better than the Cowboys. You know why? They could beat you multiple ways. You stop Dallas and their inept run game now, and if Zeke, that relic, you think is going to be carrying the ball and carrying your team across the finish line, that ain't happening. I'll tell you what, man, this guy has got to be one of the most, next to my friend Michael Irvin, who does a lot of stuff when it comes to broadcasting. Man, my friend Brian Baldinger is everywhere. And he has gotten so good at being an analyst and analyzing things for the NFL Network. I met him years ago. And every time I get Brian on, I always tell him, this guy knows my wife before I knew my wife. And I knew him before I knew her, which is crazy. Here comes Baldy. He joins us now. It's got to be the most craziest thing on the planet. Okay, my wife knows you longer, and I know you longer, and we're married. So I don't know.
I don't know that either, Sileo. Maybe we shouldn't get into it on the show.
Oh, no. No, we're good. Baldy,
Yeah.
let me get into it, and let's start here with the Eagle draft. Your takeaways from the Eagle draft.
Well, there's only 2 teams that took their first and second round pick, and they did it, and they applied it to corners. Their biggest weakness a year ago was they were a bad secondary, and they gave up 35 touchdown passes. Only Washington gave up more, Dan. And so they said, that's our biggest need. They didn't attack the cornerback position in free agency. They attacked just about every other position. They said, we're going to sit here. We're going to take the best corners we can find. So they sat there at 22. They could have the number 1 corner. They took Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo over, Terrion Arnold. We'll see how that plays out. And then, they've got a Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, who almost everybody had a first-round grade on. But they took their 2 second-round picks, 50 and 53. They moved up to 40, and they took Cooper DeJean. I mean, those 2 picks alone, it's pretty good. Now, you got to look at Alex Hunt and some of these other kids and see how they come along. I think the guard out of Michigan has a chance to be a really good player. He's been a 3-year starter at Michigan. Back in when Harbaugh got there, Dan, they did it the old school way. You came in as an 18-year-old kid. You went straight to the weight room. You went straight to your study hall, and you redshirted for a year. And you said, okay, we're gonna put 25 pounds on you, and we're gonna get you stronger, and we're gonna get your schoolwork done, and then we're gonna start your career. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and you can guarantee there's a couple Oklahoma drills in those years somewhere in there too. When they're doing those old school Oklahoma drills. See, I think you look at the draft like I do. Baldy, these guys don't even own a jockstrap yet or a helmet. What you look at is how they applied their picks to the needs. Like you said, they went cornered. Obviously, because of Reddick going to the Jets, they're looking at some type of pass rush. Also, guys that fit the zone coverage defense that Vic Fangio runs, because Mitchell was in a zone. Cooper DeJean was in a zone at Iowa. So these guys were picked more to the likings of what Vic is going to try to do with that 34. Am I right on that?
No, I think so. I mean, Vic also will, he will cater his defense to some personnel as well. But, by and large, he's been a, cover 2 shell, zone, cover 6. I mean, some basic coverages. You talk to anybody that's ever played for him, Dan. I mean, I go back when he was coaching the Dome Patrol in the New Orleans Saints with Jim Mora. Like, I've kind of followed and studied his legacy all the way up to being the head coach in Denver. And even though they weren't very good, Dan, they were the 3rd-ranked defense in football when they let him go. Every player, I don't care if it's Von Miller or if it's Khalil Mack, the guys that have played for him, they'll tell you, like, you're not going to overthink in this thing. You're just not. I mean, you're going to do a lot, but you're not going to have to overthink. You're going to play fast.
I'll say this to you, Baldy, and I saw some of your clips last year, and I'm sorry, bud. If Jordan Davis puts effort in like that again, for them to keep that guy on the field and not put Milton Williams in the starting position, I think is a front office move. And then you and I know this. If you're drafted 9th or 13th or what have you, you're always going to get to play over the 3rd rounder. But that guy did – look, I think him going to a nose guard, that should help him because that looks more like a true position. But he's got to show it this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And, in this business, I said it when they drafted him. Like, I wasn't against drafting him, but I didn't think he was going to be a great value, Dan, because I didn't think he was going to give you a good pass rush. I just didn't. I don't care what he looks like. I've seen him push Jason Kelsey like it was a one-man sled straight back to the quarterback in drills. Well, that's not real. That's not the NFL. That's not game day. Like, he rarely plays more than 4 plays in a row. He gets gassed. Look, a lot of big guys do. It's not a knock. I'm not here to, and it's not a personal attack. He either finds a way to get into better shape, he loses weight, but he's got to stay on the field, and you got to affect the passing game. And right now, he's just not doing that.
Yeah, you completely agree. At 9 sacks at Georgia, and when people go like this and you're talking production, he wasn't productive when he was at Georgia. He had 30 tackles in 4 years and 9 sacks. I'm like, dude, this guy, just because he ran a 4.78,
Exactly.
I don't see it. Let me go over here to Jalen Hurts. Baldy, can you make an assessment and call Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback based off of 17 ball games?
Well, he wasn't elite last year, but he was the year before.
Okay.
I mean, he was a legit, before he got hurt in Chicago in week 14 or 15. I mean, he was a legit MVP candidate. They were running the ball better than any other team in the league. A.J. Brown was putting up record numbers. Like, it was, I mean, they got within whiskers of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, he was legit. Now, he had a new coordinator, a lot of changes last year. Things didn't go well. He needs to be – look, I think Jalen would tell you this. He needs and wants to be coached hard, like the great ones do. It might not be pretty in some meetings or on the field. You might bristle, but there's some guys that want to be coached hard. They need to be. They need to be told, like, that's wrong. That's a bad decision. This is a better play. Like, those things. And last year, Brian Johnson was a lifelong friend. He wanted to be his friend. He didn't coach him hard, and I think that might change a little bit this year, and I think he'll benefit if they do that.
Do you think, Brian, that that's a style today with the young coordinators that we're seeing and the young coaches with all the analytics that they work with, the analytics department, that coaches get in people's asses like they did when you and I were in the league, where they grab your face mask? Hey, kid, that sucks, calling you out publicly. I don't see that any longer by the new wave guys, and I think there's a different style of coaching these guys today. So, again, will he get that from a new guy? Because I don't remember Kellen Moore screaming at Dak. I mean, is he going to get that now?
I think Andy Reid still coaches like that.
Okay.
I think Sean Payton still coaches like that. Like, I think there's certain guys.
You think Kyle Shanahan coaches like that?
I remember one time asking Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's this good-looking guy, got a smile on his face. Look like he's got the world. But I tell him, I just told him one day down the field before a game, I said, man, Jimmy, it's good to be you. It's good to be Jimmy Garoppolo. And he goes, all right, Baldy, you come out to practice on Wednesday and let me know how good I'm doing, all right? Because my coach is telling me something different. I still think there's a place for it. Like, you got to still love these guys up. But I think when you're winning a lot of games and you're winning Super Bowls and going to Super Bowls the way San Francisco, Kansas City, some of these teams are, the way, New Orleans competed year in, year out for a long time, I don't think you mind. I don't think guys mind if, guys are, coaches are up, where the sun don't shine and saying some things. Like, I think they can put up with it if they're winning.
Couple last questions for you, Baldy. Nick Sirianni, I'm not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
He's been kind of stripped of his play calling powers, whatever that meant. I mean, there's been a lot of change with the coordinators now. You can listen to them when they're talking, that there's going to be more implemented from Kellen Moore, and especially from Vic on the defensive side. Give me your take on him, because here's a guy that's been to 3 playoff runs. He's been to a Super Bowl, and yet he was fighting for his job in the offseason to stay in Philadelphia. I mean, who is he, and what does he mean to them as value to the Eagles?
Well, I mean, look, he took over 4-11-1 team and had them in the playoffs the next year. Had them in the Super Bowl the year after. Had them at 10-1, and they collapsed last year. And okay, put it on Nick. The guy comes. His dad was a coach. His brother was a coach at W&J. His other brother's a high school coach. Like, all he knows is coach. He was on basically a coaching golf vacation when he got the call from Jeffrey Lurie. And he's like, would you come and interview with us? Brandon Staley turned him down. All these guys turned the Eagles down. And he's like, yeah, I'll come over and talk with you guys. I just got to let you know. Like, I'm going to come in a suit and tie. I'm coming off the golf course. I think the guy understands kind of how to run a ship. He's got to be, but he does have to be tougher. They need a different approach this year. They're not coming off a Super Bowl. They're coming off an ugly collapse. I think they got to be tougher this whole offseason and throughout training camp. And I think if he does that, I know a lot of the guys on the team will respond.
2 last questions. Jason Kelsey, he made a comment last week, Baldy, that he said, last year I was telling Hurts where the internal pressure was coming from and where blitzing was coming from, and he struggled with it. Now you're adding Cam Jurgens into that. He's no longer in the mix. You've got less experience. And I'm not saying Cam's not going to be a good player, but what's the significant impact in your opinion, especially with the tush push? Think about it, Baldy. They start every sequence of series out 1st and 9.
Yeah.
When that guy was out there. Now may not be there any longer. What's the significance?
Well, it is significant. I talked to Jeff Stoutland about it. Before Jalen Hurts ever became a Philadelphia Eagle, Carson Wentz went 36-38 on quarterback sneaks. There was a common denominator there. It was Kelsey. It was Kelsey getting under defensive tackles like yourself and getting movement. He's got rare lower body strength. He still does. And so that tush push might not be as effective. They might have to find different ways to get their yard. They've been the best in the league over the last 3 years doing it. That's that. They're going to miss Kelsey. I think Cam Jurgens is a good football player. But I was saying somebody today, you're going to miss Kelsey on Thursdays going through blitz pickup in meetings and in film session with Jalen. You're going to miss him game day when you got to get things fixed on the sideline because, damn it, you can't get that Mike linebacker blocked, Fred Warner's making every damn tackle. We got to get him blocked. How are we going to do it? Kelsey was figuring that out. Now, Cam Jurgens might get there, but it'd be hard to think that he's going to start his career where Kelsey ended his career.
Finally here, I had Phil Simms on 2 weeks ago, and Phil said that Mekhi Becton, don't go to sleep on him. He thinks that this guy could be the free agent pickup of the offseason because he's been working hard. And Phil's big notion was just stay healthy. And with Jeff Stoutland, he feels the reason he went to Philly, he could have signed anywhere, was because of what you just said when you brought up Jeff Stoutland. How important and significant do you think the addition of a healthy Mekhi Becton could be to that O-line, especially if they move him in the right guard?
Well, I don't know if he's going to go play right guard. He might.
You think he's going to be the swing tackle?
Well, I don't know. Here's what I know about Mekhi. You have to go back to Jason Peters in his prime to find a more powerful player.
Wow.
In the offense. Maybe, look, they're Trent Williams.
Larry Allen power?
Rare power. Yes. He can't run like Larry Allen, but he's got that type of power at the point of attack. He can move bodies as well as anybody that's been in this sport for the last 10 years. Anybody. Now, can he do it on a consistent basis? Can he stay healthy? When something starts to bother him, is he going to fight through it? There's questions. Just the toughness. Look, I know Mekhi. So if Mekhi was here, I go, dude, you got to play tougher. You got to stay on the field. You can't come out. Now, he went 2 years with being hurt. The knee was bad. He had a game last year against Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. He pitched a no-hitter. He stood tall against those guys, and he looked like Mekhi. I'm with you, and I'm with Phil. Mekhi could be, and believe me, Joe Douglas is looking at this deal going, they didn't want to do it, but they're like, we just gave him 4 years. We couldn't depend on him. He was an immature kid, and he was. But sometimes take the game away from a kid.
Yeah.
Get to the second team. Let's just see how important the game really is. And we might find that out.
Okay.
I know when you're talking about tough coaches, Stoutland ain't going to pussyfoot with this kid. He's just not going to do it. He's going to be up his butt, and because he knows it's his job to get it out of him. So he only knows one approach. So I think it's going to be a good marriage, but I want to see just, how long term.
Okay. Off season, scuba or snorkeling for Baldy? What is your favorite activity when it comes? Because I see you in the water all the time. Yeah. I don't know if you have a spear, you're
I got all that.
Fishing. I have no idea what the hell you're doing.
Here's the deal, Dan. I'm a free diver, and I love free diving. And put a spear gun in my hand, I'll go get you some lobster. I'll go get you some snapper. I'll do it. But I tore my damn tricep in the Bahamas a couple weeks ago, and I just had it reattached. So, damn it, I'm out of the water until probably late June right now. So I'm I'm climbing the walls, as they like to say. I'm climbing the walls here. I can't get in there right now.
Aquaman hurt. Baldy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you finding time for me, man. You always do. Thank you, brother.
Sileo. I'll see you, buddy.
You got it. That is Brian Baldinger, NFL Network. We so love that guy, man. Injured Baldy, man. Hey, and he didn't even have to show you the finger, too. Now he's got the chicken wing that's hurt, man. So we appreciate him doing that. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Delval Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. All right, Xander. Where are we right now in the likes total? Want to get to 250 and north of it. So where are 241? Come on, guys. 9 more. 242. All right, 8 more. Let's get it, guys. 8 more. This will be 2 weeks in a row, officially, that you guys have put this bad puppy for every show with likes at 250. Means a lot, man. Sends a message, too. It sends a message that you guys are not going to be stopped. I liked what Baldy said about Micaiah Becton. Hey, Escobar says it's at 44. Good, we're 6 away. Guys, they're trying to make the show end. They're trying to make the show end. Don't let them. Don't let them. Okay? Just don't let them. I really like this Micaiah Becton sign. I do. The more I look into it, and the more I keep asking questions about it, Phil Simms loves him. Baldy loves him. That could be a Jason Peters sign. Guys, that could be Jason Peters. Prince, Thank you. Okay? Thank you. Mark Sills, did you wear camos with the other Canes against the Lions? Need to know. I started it. But it wasn't because of what people thought. So we came off the airplane in Phoenix when we played Penn State, and we were in battle fatigues, grenades, and guns. And I used to wear camouflage pants, Mark, back in the day, because remember they had the wide legs? Remember painter's pants? Okay, remember painter's pants and but I didn't wear it for what people thought. I wore it because they were comfortable. And I wore camouflage pants all the time. It was a trend back in the day. People wore it. So plus we had a theme all year about going to battle and this and that. And I wore them I wore them for the Oklahoma game, Florida State, Florida game. I wore them for all that. Okay? I wore them for all that stuff. So when we got to Penn State, I wore them for them too. So we are Penn State cells. It's all right. It's all good, man. And break my heart. Well, you did kind of in a way. I love the ultimate paternal story. If you ever have me on, I was with him after and got all of his comments. Mark, I am a Joe Paterno fan because Joe loved me and he thought the world of me. Yeah. You know, he's not responsible. He's accountable because it was his team. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Duffy Cobb. Hey, Amber, who was the guy that played with me with the Buccaneers that was on that secondary team for the Penn State team in that 87 Fiesta Bowl? The Buccaneers drafted him in a later round, and I played with him. And also Graham, the linebacker I played with, was also on that team. We became friends. I'm trying to figure, there was a linebacker that was on that 87 team named Graham, and there was a safety that played on that team that I played with that was drafted in 87. God, I can't remember. But those two guys played on that Penn State team. And me, Vinny, and Winston Moss were teammates of those guys. There was like 3 Penn State guys and 3 Hurricane dudes from that game that got drafted on that football team. Duffy Cobb, is that the guy's name that was on the Bucs team that got drafted by the Bucs? Seals, you said 87, right? Well, the 87 draft for the Buccaneers. 87 draft. There were some Penn State guys. I went to the Bucs in 87, but my draft pick didn't count till 88 because that's how the supplemental worked. John McMullen is fantastic on JAKIB, and I admire John. Pete Gittopoulos. Yep, he ended it. Yeah, Shane Conlon went to Buffalo. Shane's a dear friend of mine today. It's funny, I wouldn't speak to those guys for 10 years until I met Steve Wisniewski. And Steve Wisniewski and I have become dear friends. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was draft year you were talking. Yeah, 88, my draft pick. I went to the Bucs, the 87 supplemental with me and Bosworth and Chris Carter. That draft pick doesn't count until the following year, the next draft. They take a 3rd rounder, and I think they took a 4th rounder from the Eagles away for Chris, and they took the Seahawks 1st rounder away for Bosworth. Way before my time, Sills. I have 3 years left at Penn State, my brother. Penn State, dude. Hey, is there any signs at Penn State, Fly? I wanted to hate you, but I can't. Hey, Fly, are there any remnants left of Joe Paterno there? Well, that stadium embodies him, and so does the library. Joe Paterno built that library. Paterno built that draft he built that library. He did. Yeah, man. He recruited me in high school. I didn't want to go there because they had black shoes. I was in the house. I saw the pictures of you. I was in his house. I saw the pictures of you. Thank you. Oh, wow. Yeah, that game was incredible. Yeah, Paterno's wife and his son, Jay, showed me some picters that Joe had in the house, and I was in many of the pictures, as many guys were. Steve Wisniewski, DJ Dozier. Yeah, we were all over. It was a crowning moment for him, was beating the Miami team that year, because that team was so good. Same Sills, when I started watching, I thought I would hate you, but I can't. An honest person who speaks truth, good or bad. Rolando. Hey, Rolando, if you're a guy like me and you, people don't like that. They just don't like that. I don't know why. They just don't like that. Are we really going to get to 260? All right. One more, guys. I quit watching Penn State after they got rid of Paterno. I don't blame you, Amber. I don't blame you. The way that they disgraced that guy and blamed him. Look, he was accountable, and he should have been fired, but you don't disgrace the man. You know, you make him look like he did that to those kids. It was that guy. He's got responsibility to it, but not like that. Okay. James says he stopped too. Penn State football is not even remotely close to what it was. I watch you guys get beat by big programs. Penn State never got beat by big programs when I played them. No, Penn State losing was as infrequent as us losing at Miami. It didn't happen. Penn State just didn't lose games. Them, Nebraska, us, Florida State, even the Gators. Good stuff, folks. That's absolutely sensational. 261. You guys are great. And I want to thank you guys one more time. You guys are fantastic. The show's continuing to explode. Even in the time when people think there's nothing to talk about, we set up and we show up every day. Thank you, guys. It means a lot. Really does. Please hit the like button. Xander, Joe, thank you guys again. We appreciate it. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.